Feeling fatigued? You're about to get your afternoon boost with Tony Gwynn Jr.
That gorilla is way faster. He can do things with his feet and hands that if he tries to shoulder up with the silverback, he's probably breaking his clavicle. That's all muscle. There's no fat at all.
Chris Ello.
There was 3 versions of King Kong, but I think the gorilla won each time.
And Matt Scraby.
About an hour in, he goes to use the bathroom, and when he stood up, the nuclear cloud of butt dust was released, and it smelled worse than a porta potty baking in the sun all day.
Don't blame us for any side effects.
You thrilled our fans throughout the postseason with a great performance.
Gwynn and Chris are ready to go.
Welcome in. Sorry, it was like multiple noises coming through. One, my computer, my headset, and I was just flustered there. So forgive me. Happy Monday, everybody. Tony Gwynn Jr., Matt Scraby, Chris Ello out. Padres return to the ball field today. 4-game set against the National League West opponent, the Arizona Diamondbacks.
The Snakes.
Don't ever do that again.
Everybody said last time they played the Diamondbacks, they need to hear me say Snakes.
There it is. Snakes. Zach Gallen, Merrill Kelly, Brandon Pfaadt, Eduardo Rodriguez will be the 4 going for the Diamondbacks. On the Padres side, one Yu Darvish makes his 2025 appearance here tonight. Long awaited, but certainly could be a boost for the Padres. That'll be followed by Nick Pivetta, Dylan Cease, and Randy Vasquez. So I mean, let's start there, Scrape.
Yeah.
Yu Darvish. We've been following him around for. I'm sure he's tired of the updates that we have to constantly give on him. But today is the day. He will take the rubber here. Don't know what to expect. I'm sure during that Mike Schilt may give us some clarity on that. But all things, I would say this is a nice little boost for the Pods. So just seeing him back on the rubber again.
This is a nice boost for the Padres because, and I want to go back to something you just said. Who do you think is more annoyed by the questions, Yu Darvish or Mike Schilt? I would say Mike Schilt because he's the one who has to stand there and answer those questions every day. Right.
He has to stand and answer him every day, and it's not his shoulder or his elbow in this case. So, I'm sure Mike is happy he's coming back, obviously to help the team, but certainly because he won't have to answer that question for a little bit at least.
Yeah, but you guys were talking about on the broadcast last night, the radio broadcast, you and Jesse, and how this is probably going to be a huge morale boost for the team because they need a starting pitcher back. They got a starting pitcher back. They got a leader like Yu Darvish back. It's a big deal.
I think it's I don't know that it's that cut and dry. I think obviously when he takes the field, that'll be a morale boost. But then when the game starts, how does he fare? How does it when it's all done, how does he feel the next day? I think there is some like kind of wait and see type in terms of, but if he keeps returning every 5th, 6th day, whatever they end up deciding to do, I think that will lead to kind of a morale boost for sure. And I think this team is it feels like they're kind of coming out of a little rut that they have been in. But good 4-game series. I mean, you got the team that, although they have struggled here as of late, is still a very good Diamondback team. And so Padres took down a Ranger team that had been playing better coming into that series. So you win the series. And remember, the idea when this homestand started was to try to go into the break playing some good baseball with some type of momentum. That's a good start there, 2 or 3 from the Rangers. Now you got 4 here against the Diamondbacks.
Yeah, that is a really good start. What did you think about the series over the weekend? Obviously, Saturday was the Kyle Higashioka return game because he did everything for them. But Number one, you were working all weekend, so I don't know if you felt like this, but on Friday I felt like it was Saturday, and on Saturday I felt like it was Sunday.
No, it was all these night games just kind of messed me up. Like the 6:40 game on Saturday, which never happens, and then the 6:10 game on Sunday,
which is weird.
Which doesn't happen very often. Yeah, it was. I was a day back on probably all of it for sure.
Yeah, but the series against the Rangers, they get back on track. They win another series, I guess, against a team that's under 500, but we can't look into that too much. Then
it's good then, because guess who else is under 500?
The Diamondbacks.
There you go. Let's get these wins, player. We don't need it. Doesn't matter.
Let's get these wins, player.
It doesn't really matter like what the record is these dudes are playing. They just go ahead and get the wins. It's all that matters. Win, win, win.
Yes. I want to ask you something about what Mike Schilt has been trying to do here recently, because we've seen it in the past where he switches the catchers defensively, and so he has to switch them in the lineup. And so it goes from, Maldonado to Diaz to Maldonado. But in the last couple games, he's been using either Iglesias or he's been using Trent Brooks. Do you think, is that just because he doesn't have faith that the catchers are going to get a hit, or what is behind that? Because it just is a departure from what he's done all year.
Well, he didn't have. I mean, I think it says that he's feeling good about Jose Iglesias off the bench, and he's feeling good about Trenton Brooks off the bench. More, and I don't think he knows what he has in his catchers. Like that situation is what it is. But the fact that you have two that you can rely on, that means one of them, if they're not swinging it well, you can go to your bench and bring them in. They've done that all season. I just think now, whereas before he was kind of pinch hitting for one another.
Yeah.
He feels like there's at least in the last few matchups he's felt better about Iglesias. He's felt better about Brooks. I think that's really what it boils down to.
I like Trenton Brooks and what he can do. He hasn't had the numbers on the paper success, but he's had successful at bats.
To be fair, he hasn't really had that many attempts. I think he's done well with the kind of opportunities he's had, and I think he's gaining more confidence when he gets up there. He's starting to put better ABs together. So I just think right now that's kind of where it's at. I mean, you heard AJ Preller talking that they want to go out and get a bat or two, I think is what he said.
I have that audio if you would like to hear it at some point.
Yeah, you have it right now?
I do, yeah. Here's AJ Preller on MLB Network.
But again, I think the biggest thing is, from my standpoint in this chair, we're prepared because we've got great scouts, analysts, staff, coaching staff that, they all participate in the process. We feel like we have a pretty good pulse on the league and who's out there. It doesn't always mean you're going to make great decisions, but I think we're in position, with talented players in our organization, both at the major league and minor league level, to at least be in these conversations. And then you got to, as a GM, evaluate how realistic it is that your team can win and contend. Then try to weigh that out versus future, and wanting to make sure that's a sustained run. So, we've had the chance here, over the last 5 years to be in 3 playoff runs, and we've had 5 in a row where we've been in the mix till the end. And at the end of the day, we'll look at our team here this year. Getting Darvish King back would be huge. The bullpen's been strong. We've got a lot of different weapons in the pen. We've had some you could add to a strength. And on the offense side, it's probably rounding out the depth of the lineup. I think, like you mentioned, the top of the lineup should be strong. And you look up and you've got a Jake Cronenworth hitting 7th and 8th on some nights, but you've got to be deep, 1 through 9. And I think probably adding a bat or two is something that we're going to look at here in the next few weeks to try to help our team get to October.
Boom.
I don't know about y'all, but I feel pretty confident about him. The way he talked in that right there was of a man that is feeling pretty confident about the landscape that's out there and what he thinks can help.
I was surprised he even gave us that much. I was like, if he wasn't confident, he wouldn't give us that.
I'm just saying that. I don't know. Tell me if I'm wrong. That felt like that was a different answer than what you normally get.
Yeah, we'll see what we'll take. We'll take a look at the options. We'll see what presents itself to us.
We didn't get none of that.
No, we got. I'm going to add a bat or two.
I want to. Yeah, he said we're gonna look at adding a bat or two So I mean, I'm just saying, like, at this point, we shouldn't even really. We should be more surprised if it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Than at this point, given his track record.
The Robert Suarez keeps finding himself on the trade block, especially with Jason.
From who?
Just fans. Just fans.
Okay, there you go.
And especially with Jason Adam making the All-Star game over Robert Suarez, it's like, would you rather go with the hot hand of Morihone, Estrada, Adam to close games and get some value for Robert Suarez, or would you rather just have Robert Suarez be your guy? Come in, you know how it's going to go. You got your 7, 8, 9 guys.
I think they're deep enough to entertain that, but that doesn't mean you should do it.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? I think it would, if you're getting the right things back, you got to look at it. Listen, it's a strength. If you remove Robert Suarez, it's still a strength, but it's certainly not as strong. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, true.
And so, and we know that you need that part to be kind of tough down the stretch into the playoffs. I don't know. Do you want to really weaken it? You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. It depends. Like I said, it would depend on what would be coming back and all that good stuff. But as you heard the man himself say, I feel like they're in pretty good position.
I like it. I mean, that's as confident as ever heard AJ Preller talk about the trade deadline coming up.
I think that was as confident as he's willing to have let you in on.
That's true.
Or anybody else in on.
They showed him on TV last night briefly, and he looked like he's been up for 2 weeks. So
I think he just always looks like that.
So one of my friends said he's got one cooking. He's got it cooking. He's gonna make a trade soon. And I'm like, yeah, that's how AJ usually looks because he doesn't sleep. All he does is talk about baseball scenarios and all that. There was an article on ESPN when they went back to some of the GMs and talked about the trade deadline, some of the crazy things that have happened. Chris Getz said he was at his uncle's funeral one time, and one of the GMs would not stop calling him. And I gotta know who that is because it was at a funeral. He tells the guy, give me a couple hours. The deal's not going to fall through. I'm a pallbearer. I need to go do this. But the GM kept bugging him about it. And I'm like, I love those stories because I have no idea how this works.
He tried to assure him with the deal is not going to fall through.
Yeah, I'm going to be a pallbearer. So calm down. Stop calling me during this funeral. But there was a whole ESPN article with a ton of stories like that. Like Perry Manassian and what's the brother's name? Zach?
Yeah.
He was also at like a grandma's funeral, and he was trying to find $500,000 of international bonus money. And so his brother was driving while he was texting in the passenger seat. And they said, why didn't you just ask your brother? He's the GM of the Angels. He's like, he didn't have it. So shocker on that.
They probably have to be careful too. Those two dealing with one another because people could probably try to claim
that's true.
That,
insider trading
or something along those lines. All right. We are, by the way, your story is the one that took us beyond. We were at 2:11 when I stopped talking.
No,
so
you're
I
right.
just wanted to point that out.
No, you're right.
Let's get to break.
Chris isn't here for me to blame, so.
No, he's not. He's not. On the other side, we'll get into some of the things we saw in the Rangers series that could be pointing in the direction that the Padres are moving in the right spot. Plus, we can get into some of the all-star selections. We haven't talked about that right here on Gwynn Chris.
When you own your own business, you own it.
Back here, 97.3 The Fan. Tony Gwynn Jr., Matt Scraby, Chris Ello on vacation. Tony down at Petco Park. I'm here in the Odyssey Palace here in the nice air conditioning, Tony. I think you're on mute.
Well, that's fine. You can be in air conditioning. I mean, it's air conditioning here too. Plus, I got a way better view than you.
Yeah, you definitely have a way better view than me. I just see the weirdos walking around the hallway here at work. That's all I see every single day.
Why you got to call them weirdos, man?
Ah, come on. We know you got Rob Zilla walking around here. You got.
I don't know how you feel about you calling him a weirdo, man.
I shouldn't have said Rob Zilla. I should have said like Braden and Frank because I can more easily call them weirdos and not have to worry about it. Yeah. But anyway,
too late.
We were talking about before we went to break. We were talking about some of the All-Star selections. We were also talking about the series against the Rangers over the weekend. Now, Fernando made the All-Star team. Jason Adam made the All-Star team. Manny Machado makes the All-Star team for the Padres. So good on those guys. We'll talk more in depth about some of the Padres selections later in the show and how Jason Adam found out. But you got to be happy for Jason Adam making it to the All-Star game for the first time.
Absolutely. He has been wonderful. And I would say that probably hasn't been at his best in like the last few weeks, but he's still getting out, still finding ways to like really, get the ball to Suarez, which is what he's been tasked with doing on most occasions. Now we've seen it get flipped. We saw Schilt use Morton in the 8th last night with the lefties at the top of the lineup. So Jason pitched the 7th and pitched a good one. And so, yeah, man, he's been awesome. Toddy obviously had the best month ever in April. And that's why we're having this conversation with him being there. He's swung the bat better in the last week, but I think overall that end of March and all of April was enough to get him into this position where he is. And Manny Machado has been as Mr. Consistency all season long, and now 2 hits away from 2,000.
I heard you guys. I was driving a lot last night, in and out of the car, but I heard you guys talking about Manny Machado and how it would be like the first or the second player ever to have a major milestone to accomplish a major milestone on their birthday, and like the only other guy. I can't even remember his name, but it was like Eddie Collins or something.
Jesse, what was the gentleman's name that got his big milestone on his birthday?
It was like Eddie Collins or something.
Collins? Oh, we're going to get the official name of that here shortly.
But anyway.
Yes, that is the point, is that it was indeed, Eddie Collins. 2000th hit on May 2nd, 1920.
Yes. Which is a great Jesse stat right there. But that just kind of shows you how crazy it is that Manny Machado right now is going for 2,000. It's more important to me than I thought it would be, Tony. I don't know why. It's maybe because we're creeping up on it so much, but I'm getting more and more excited.
It's a huge milestone. I think we hear the number 2,000 and we think, oh, well, it's not a big deal because there's 3,000 above it. But you kidding me? There's very few guys have reached the pinnacle of 2,000 hits. They just haven't. And Manny's not only is he about to be on that list, but he is going to blow by it and have a chance at 3,000.
We were talking about this last week. He would have to have 5 seasons of 200 hits or more, and he turned 32 yesterday, 33 yesterday.
He would have to have what now?
Because he would have to have 5 seasons of like 200 hits or more, basically, for him to reach that. And I think that he's probably going to be playing deep into his late 30s.
The thing, that's the thing you have to ask yourself: how long can Manny can he play? And he's not injured very often, and I just have a feeling that as long as he can play, he's going to be able to find a way to get hits. Maybe power will diminish as he gets older, but he's going to be able to hit the baseball, assuming he stays healthy.
Yeah, that's the big key in all of this, is assuming he stays healthy. On Fernando, I didn't realize until I was reading the Kevin Acee newsletter this morning. I mean, I knew Fernando was a good right fielder, but I didn't realize how good he's been this year defensively. He is second in the National League in defensive run save with 11. He's third in the National League with outs above average at 9. His WAR for the National League among outfielders is second. He's got the 5th most stolen bases this year, but defensively, I mean, I guess I kind of take advantage. I don't
For granted.
Yes, thank you for saying
That's what
that.
you're looking for.
I take for granted how good he actually is in right field, but I don't know why I'm doing that, because I'm seeing it every single day, and then I shouldn't be surprised when I look at his stats and see that he's second in the National League outfielders with defensive runs saved.
No, you shouldn't. No, you shouldn't. You shouldn't be surprised at all. He's an exceptional outfielder in a short period of time, and that is the thing he is focused on when it wasn't going well offensively. And so, yeah, man, Toddy is he's an interesting case because of all of the time he's missed. He hasn't really played a lot of baseball, and even though he's been in the league for 6 years, right? He just hasn't, because of injuries and the suspension, he just has missed a bunch of time. And so you're still waiting to see what that looks like.
Yeah, I mean, if he can play 140, 150 this year, that would put his numbers, up there. He just hasn't had the amount of games in a season to really get 30. I mean, he's had 42 home runs, but in the last couple of years, he hasn't had more than 30 home runs because he's been hurt.
Most games he's played, 141. That was the first year back from suspension.
He played 141 that year?
Yeah.
That's a lot of games.
84, 59, 130, 141, 102, 87 this year.
So do you think that, because this is the question I keep getting, do you think that Fernando deserved to be on the All-Star team with the way that he's been hitting in the last couple months?
If it was just solely based off of how he was hitting in the last couple months, then no, he probably shouldn't have been on there. But it's not based off of that. It's based on the entire first half. And as I said, his first month and 2 weeks was better, way better than everybody else. And it built a little cushion, basically. And so as he started to come back to the pack, his numbers didn't look all that bad compared to everybody else's. So, I mean, I don't know that this one is that big of a, big of it may have seemed when it first happened,
No, people just love to hate. It's just immediately with my friends who are fans of the Giants, friends who are fans of the Dodgers. Oh, of course, Fernando gets a selection.
Do you have any Padre friends?
I do have Padres friends, and all they do is complain to me too about the Padres. So I was telling something over the weekend that I was like, we've hung out for 3 hours now, and we have not brought up the Padres once. I am proud of us because that's
usually a topic of conversation.
Oh, huh? Right when they get in the car. What is up with this team? Let's talk about this team. I'm like, please, I don't want to talk about this team. We have a Padres pen pals at 340 with a lot more on everything with the team. And they're actually kind of positive today. There's only one negative guy, but I thought he was so funny I had to put him in there. But for the most part, people are kind of starting to look up again.
Yeah, well, that'll be until they lose 2 or 3 or something down here in the next, something like that. If that happens, then all those good feels will go away.
That is true. Very quick. Very quick. All right. When we get back, we're going to talk to Matt Snyder of CBS Sports. He did the CBS Sports All-Star snub list. We'll also get his thoughts on the trade deadline and more when we get back on 97.3 The Fan.
Ben and
2:34 on the clock. Tony Gwynn Jr., Chris Ello, not in. Matt Scraby is, though. Just the two of us taking you all the way up to, what is it, pregame show? Starts at what time?
5:40 with our guy,
Right.
Sammy Leff.
Sammy Lev, 5:40. Matt Scraby and I will take you right up to that. And in other baseball news, before we get to my guy Matt Snyder to talk a little bit about his snub list, the Nationals decided to kind of jump into the wave of news yesterday, firing both Dave Martinez, the manager, and Mike Rizzo, the GM. Mike Rizzo has been there for a very long time. Won a title. Both were part of that World Series championship team, but they have decided to move on. The statement from the organization says, on behalf of our family and the Washington Nationals organization, I first and foremost want to thank Mike and Davey for their contributions to our franchise and our city. Principal owner Mark Lerner said in a statement, our family is internally grateful for their years of dedication to the organization, including their roles in bringing a World Series trophy to Washington, D.C. Blase, blase, blah,
Seriously,
blah, 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 blah.
seriously.
Blah, 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 blah.
Blah, 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 blah. Just say it. Just say it. It's not working. We're moving on.
Right.
I don't know. I don't even think it's. I mean, what do you think? Is this surprising to you?
No. I think it's more of a kind of an indictment on the organization. Not that Davey and Mike were doing, a fantastic job, but I think their job had probably more to do with ownership's kind of limbo position of maybe selling, maybe not. If you're maybe selling, you're probably not putting the money into the things that would make your team successful. Being an owner, you either are in it to win, or you're in it to make money. I don't know that there's a good space for in between. Like, do I want this team, or do I want to sell it? Because the team itself can't thrive when you're in that kind of position of not knowing whether you want it to be in it for the long haul or if you want to sell. Because, when you own, I assume when you own a franchise sporting team, that if you are like kind of maybe not wanting to own it, you're probably not putting money into it because you might not own it later on.
Yeah. I mean, it makes perfect sense. But at the same time, it's like, hey, we're all here still trying to cheer for this team and play for this team. It's very weird.
That's the luxury of being an owner, is that you don't have to. I mean, you have to worry about that to some degree, but not really.
Not really at all. I mean, what have you done for me lately is what stands out to me right here. I don't know. I don't know what they're gonna do. But Mike Rizzo was there for 16 years. That's a long time. Did he bring you in?
He did.
And
He
wow,
brought me in. I mean, Mike is a one of the smarter baseball men you'll come across. But sometimes you spend your time it's time for a change. He might use her. Mike was in the Diamondback organization when they first went into the World Series realm, when they beat the Yankees. He was a part of the organization at that point. And so, that parlayed into him being the GM eventually. And, we'll see what happens with him moving forward. We'll see what happens with Davey moving forward.
I saw a baseball expert out there. I can't remember exactly who it was. Might have been, I don't know. They said Mike Rizzo is not going to be without a job for very long. So
I would guess not.
Yeah.
You could almost guarantee he's going to be some type of special assistant to somebody.
AJ Preller, maybe. Come on now.
Maybe. I don't know.
AJ likes to bring those guys in.
They definitely have worked together. We definitely know that.
Yes, they have.
Let's get to our guest of the day. None other than Matt Snyder joins us here, CBS Sports. And Matt, how are you? It's been a while, man, since we talked.
Yeah, I'm good. It's a very good time for the game right now because we get a lot of extra attention here.
Yes, obviously the All-Star game coming up. Let's start with the Pods. I mean, let's start with Manny Machado first. I mean, he's 2 hits away from 2,000. Had an opportunity to get it on his birthday, came up a little bit short of that, but he's eclipsed 350 already this season, 2,000. I mean, and he still seemingly has a lot of tread on the tires at this point. How much of a chance do you give him to get to it, the 3,000 mark number?
3,000, man, another 1,000 still a pretty tall order, especially in this day and age with, there's a lot more emphasis on walking and everything and working the strike zone and stuff like that. And he's not going to be hitting leadoff or anything like that. So you're not going to stack a ton of at-bats. I don't think it's out of the question or anything. In all likelihood, he'll probably settle 2,500 between 2,500 and 3,000. Like, I think Dave Parker was, since I just recently looked at his page, in like the 2,700, something like that. That's probably about where Manny ends up. But 32. So I do think there's a decent chance that he can get all the way to 3,000.
Talking to Matt Snyder here, CBS Sports, and Matt, another Padre we think was snubbed, and we think they also might be put on the team if someone bails out from the National League. Nick Pivetta, did you think that he should have made the All-Star team?
He was on my snub list. He wasn't on like the upper tier of it, like where I had Seiya Suzuki and Framber Valdez, for example. But yeah, he was one of the first guys I looked at, and I thought, I don't think that people necessarily consider circumstances when they look at stuff like all-star voting. But when you look at the circumstances of the Padres with all those injuries to the rotation and desperately needing somebody to step up, especially with how Cease was very inconsistent to start the year, like they desperately needed somebody in there. And you kind of knew, at least had suspected that King was going to be one of those guys because of how he finished last season. But who else is going to step up? And it was Pivetta. And his numbers, I do think that I haven't looked at the Sunday starters, and a lot's going to come down to that, but he should definitely be on the short list of pitching replacements. And a lot of times we get 3 or 4 pitching replacements. So there's a decent chance he gets to go.
Matt Snyder joins us here, CBS Sports. And Matt, Padres will play their 91st game today. There's a couple teams with a few more, but just give me your outlook on the landscape right now. I mean, who's been your biggest surprise on the good side and your biggest surprise on the negative side this season?
Well, since I just said it and he's fresh in my head, I kind of feel like Cease was a step back, especially given the Musgrove injury and then the Darvish injury. Like, really needed Cease to kind of step up and be a co-ace there with Michael King there. And what they got from Pivetta would just be gravy, and had one of the best 1, 2, 3 punches in the league. So kind of glaring to me on Cease. And, there are underlying metrics that he's pitched better than his ERA and stuff like that. And there's been plenty of good outings. I just think on the whole, you would have expected better from him so far. On the good side, surprise, I guess it just has to be back to Pivetta. Gosh, I just talked about those two guys. Jason Adams, another, pleasant, but I don't know how much of it is surprise because he was this good last year. He's getting more recognition for it now, making his first All-Star team. But a lot of the good stuff on the position player side was guys who are supposed to be good, the guys who are supposed to be doing it. So, yeah, I think even though I just talked about that, I'm sorry about that, but Cease and Pivetta kind of come to mind.
How about on the team side of things? I mean, you look at a team like the Cubs. I don't know that anybody had them being as far ahead in the Central as they are. On the other side, you got a team like Baltimore. I mean, are those the teams that you would have on the negative, positive side in terms of surprises this year?
The two negatives are really easy. It's the Orioles and the Braves. I mean, almost everybody had them both in the playoffs. The Braves are supposed to be part of a big three in the NL East fighting for the crown with the Phillies and the Mets, and they've just been terrible. And you could talk about injuries and the slow start and everything, but every time they've started to get hot, every time they've gotten somebody back, they've run into more problems, and now they're a game and a half behind the Marlins, and that's just unacceptable. Same thing with the Orioles. They went through that drastic, extreme rebuild. They put their fans through all that, and then they only made the playoffs twice, and now they're 9 games under 500, and they didn't even win a playoff game in those 2 trips to the playoffs. So those two glaring to me, sticking out. I think the Cubs are definitely a good one. Like, a lot of people had them winning the NL Central, but I think it was everybody thought it was going to be more of a dogfight, and they could have said, well, it's going to be a 2-team race between the Cubs and the Brewers, or maybe the Reds jump in, or maybe the Pirates or Cardinals jump in there. Instead, the Cubs have had a decent lead for quite a while. Also, I know that people hate this if I say positive on their side, but I don't think anybody thought the Astros were going to be 7 games up right now.
No kidding.
They let Alex Bregman walk in free agency. They traded Kyle Tucker. Yordan Alvarez has been hurt almost all year, and when he wasn't hurt, he was bad. They have all those starting pitching injuries, and they're still 20 games over 500. Just absolutely ridiculous. And, hey, Tigers as well. Let's give the Tigers a lot of credit. I know everybody thought they were going to contend, but I think it was like kind of what I said about the NL Central. Like, oh, there's going to be 4 teams in contention here, and they're going to be in the middle of that pack. Instead, they're up 13.5 games.
Yeah. I never expected the Tigers to be this good this year. We're talking about Snyder, CBS Sports here on 97.3 The Fan. Speaking of the American League Central, Emmanuel Clase has not been the guy we saw last year, and now the Guardians have lost 10 in a row. Do you think his services may be on the trade block?
It seems like it. You're starting to hear some smoke there, and you're also starting to hear a little bit of smoke about Stephen Kwan, who only has 2 more years in arbitration. He's really cheap this year. Then he'll go to arbitration for 2 more, but either one of those guys would be a huge get for somebody. It's interesting to me, when I heard those 2 names today, my first thought I went to was, if you're going to do that, why not Jose Ramirez as well? Because he's 32 years old. He tops $20 million in salary the next 3 years before he hits the free agency. That's still really, really cheap for how good Jose Ramirez is. But if you're going to essentially dismantle, you're not just trading around the margins. You're not just trading Carlos Santana and Lane Thomas. If you dip into Stephen Kwan and Emmanuel Clase, you might as well just rip the Band-Aid off and full rebuild. And that means every single contender in baseball would be going crazy over Jose Ramirez. Even teams with a third baseman would say, we can find a way to fit Jose Ramirez in here somewhere.
I'm pretty sure Ramirez is a 10-5 guy, so he'll have to approve any
Absolutely.
deal.
And that's part of the complication. So maybe that's it. Sorry about that, Tony. Thank you. Good looking out.
No problem. No problem. What do you think? Now those are just the Guardian guys. This trade deadline could be very interesting because of the names. I mean, you got a guy like Sandy Alcantara who hasn't thrown the ball that well, but his talent is still something that is going to be coveted come deadline. I mean, do you think that name is probably at the very top in terms of the guys that teams are going to be trying to pull away from teams?
Maybe it's just he's just been so bad this year in his first year back from Tommy John.
How bad?
I think
how bad can a year? How bad can a year change that?
Yeah, that's the thing. And the more distance he gets from it, he, at least in theory, pitchers get better the further distance they get from the surgery. So if a team is looking to buy, they might say, hey, he's probably going to get better in the second half. And I wouldn't even argue. So that's a good point there. There's a lot of sorting out to do because a team like the Diamondbacks, 4.5 out of a playoff spot right now. But if they fall out, you've got Zach Gallen, speaking of guys who are having a terrible year, but there still might be a little, hey, what if he gets better? Merrill Kelly, Eugenio Suarez, Josh Naylor, they're all free agents after the year. They know Corbin Burns is having Tommy John surgery, or I think he probably had it by now. They can still build around Ketel Marte and Corbin Carroll there, but they can get rid of those guys. The Angels, 4.5 out, Tyler Anderson. That would be an attractive ad as a starting pitcher as well if they fall out of it. The Twins are interesting. I mean, would they deal Byron Buxton? Would they Duran? That would be very interesting there. What are the Royals going to do? Like, there's a lot of these teams in limbo where it just needs to get sorted out. Cardinals as well. I wonder if this past week was things starting to turn for the worse for them. And if that happens, we know Arenado is going to be on the move. They might even sell him anyway.
Talking to Matt Snyder of CBS Sports here at 97.3 The Fan. And last one for me, Matt. The Nationals, I understand why they're going to be interesting at the trade deadline because they just fired their actual GM and their manager, so they're going with their interim GM. But I get why you don't want to keep a GM through a trade deadline because you don't believe that they're the right person for the future. Yeah. But at the same time, you're firing a guy in a really critical part of rebuilding your team. So do you think that the Nationals are just going to be trade crazy, or do you think they're not going to do much of anything?
Well, I mean, it's usually when they do it in the middle of the season, they wait until after the season to hire a new guy. So my assumption is they're just going to kind of stick with the plan there. When they elevate people in the interim, you don't often see an interim GM do anything really drastic. So I would guess they're just going to kind of do what they already had planned. It's also an interesting, like, where they are right now. They decided basically in 2021 that they're going to rebuild when they traded Trey Turner and Max Scherzer to the Dodgers. 2022, that continued with the Juan Soto trade. And to get back Abrams, Gore, James Wood, that's something that is really good for the rebuilding project. But that's the only good trade they made. That's the only good move they've really made during this entire rebuild. And it's 2025, and they're still awful. Like, are you going to turn this thing around anytime soon? What's going on? And they don't have a ton more there. Like, Dylan Cruz probably still has a lot of upside, but they should have been doing a lot better by now. So I can see why 2019 World Championship, but they've been rebuilding for 4 years. We're in 2025. I can see why the move was made. They should have had a lot more out of that rebuild by now.
Man, last one for me, and this is a little bit of a fun one. We often on this station joke about Juan Soto. I'm obviously a huge fan in terms of what he brings to the table as a ball player, but it does seem like there's like some hate, some envy on this dude. He doesn't really do anything, off the field that causes any antennas to go up. He seems to like playing baseball very much. What is it about Juan Soto that seems to kind of rub people the wrong way?
Right now, I feel like it's the contract for whatever. I mean, there's always going to be some level of jealousy, even if people don't want to say it. And it's funny. I did my snubs column last night, and I was like, look, you've got a guy who's top 3 in on-base percentage with 21 home runs. By the way, he leads the Mets in home runs. He's ahead of Alonso. If that was like a rookie that we've never heard of before, he would absolutely be an all-star. And if he wasn't, he'd be headlining every single snubs piece. Instead, they didn't even mention him on the show last night on the biggest snubs. Like,
right. Like he
396 on base percentage, over 500 slugging, 21 home runs, and he's not even mentioned as a snub. Like, I think a lot of that was, yes, we had the contract. He went to the World Series with the Yankees, then he signed elsewhere. And then a slow start for him in the first 2 months, and everybody got just beaten to their heads hearing what's wrong with Juan Soto, what's wrong with Juan Soto, what's wrong with Juan Soto. So then everybody's conditioned to think, oh, he must be having a terrible year, but he's not. He's not having a terrible year at all. That the jealousy factor, I think, has to play a key role in that. It's got to.
Yeah, certainly. It certainly seems like it. The more this guy keeps playing and keeps putting up numbers, and the more hate seems to come his way. But I guess that comes with the territory when you sign for that for that kind of money, Matt.
100%.
As always, man, appreciate you coming on and spending some time with us.
Take care, guys.
Matt Snyder, CBSSports.com. And, nice that the Padres get 3. That's usually a good sign that your team is having some success when you get multiple guys in like that.
Oh,
now,
you mean the Rockies with their 1 doesn't mean success?
Hey, listen. Let's not get on our high horse here.
You're right.
Been the organization that only could send one guy before, and those are days where the team wasn't good. If you're sending multiple guys, typically you got a pretty decent team. And so
I know what you're about to say when I asked this question, but you had 2009 was a really good year for you. Was there any sort of all-star?
No.
Did you ever feel like, hey,
No.
like I'm being snubbed?
Not
I know
a
the
shot.
answer to this question, but I had to ask
I
it.
was just so happy to be playing and getting like consistent playing time. I didn't care about any other stuff at that point.
I was studying your stats yesterday so I could see if I even had an inkling to ask this question. But a really good year.
I did. That was my best year as a pro. 270, played almost every day. Like next year, I was terrible offensively, but I got some Gold Glove votes that year. So That's my claim to fame in the big leagues.
Well, I think the Gold Glove votes is your claim to fame. Hey, at least you can say that you got some Gold Glove votes.
Yeah, no doubt. Definitely we'll hold that card high. Let's get to break. Little Daily Gambit on the other side. Yu Darvish featured in the Daily Gambit. You'll hear about it on the other side. More Gwynn and Chris. Dial. Tony Gwynn Jr., Chris Ello, not here. That's the second time I've almost said Chris Ello.
You're doing a good job of catching
pivoted.
yourself.
I'm pivoting right there. Boom. Sometimes you mess up, you gotta pivot. Nobody knows if I snitched on myself, but it's all good. Me and Matt Scraby here with you, taking you up to 5:45 when the pregame show begins.
5:40. 5:40.
Sorry, 5:40.
You're doing your best Chris Ello right now. Hey,
correct me if I'm wrong. 5:40. Well, to be fair, I'm not here when it happens, so
that is true.
I'm not really paying attention to exactly when it happens. But yeah, real quick little tidbit. This really, I caught this, and I shouldn't say I caught it, but I'm paying attention. I've been paying attention to it, and today an article came out at ESPN. It's the top story right now. For as much as the WNBA has advanced in its game, the referees are going to have to catch up. They are struggling immensely. And I think it's leading to a lot of the conversation, especially surrounding Caitlin Clark.
Oh my goodness! Can we stop with that?
And no, I'm saying though, like they could put if they were better. They're like letting a lot of stuff. It's no holds barred wrestling at sometimes in some of these games. I watched Kelsey Plum, and she was right about being fouled. I don't know if she was right about her reaction to it, but she got to the rack and like laid one up, and she turned right to the referee and she said, "Every effing time, it's a foul!" Like right to her face. Nothing said. Just kind of moved on about the play. And I've seen this a lot. Like the players like beside themselves, like nothing's being called. And Caitlin Clark, I think she's been the one featured on a lot of it. But now you're saying, and so the reason why I brought it up, because it was an article today, and of course, Angel Reese is blasting the referees and is along the lines of this has to be fixed. But she's not the first one that I've heard kind of go in on this. Caitlin Clark has. We've kind of seen it with our own eyes. Some of the things not quite being called, like that seem like obvious fouls.
Yeah,
and it's a good reminder, right, that as we see, you and I haven't been privileged to see like the advancement of a sport in the way that we've seen.
That's true.
The WNBA, like you and I came of age, like NBA was kind of already doing its thing. Baseball in the 90s was kind of already doing its thing. NFL was already doing its thing. But I think when you ask your parents, our parents, they would tell you like the officiating is way better now than it used to be. Like we can tell you that about the umpiring, right? Baseball wise, like we watched Eric Gregg, and I use him, rest his soul, because he was the one that we remember most in that playoff game. Marlins Braves.
I
the
can't
pitches are like this far outside. My screen can't even keep my fingers in the screen because that's how wide the pitches were.
I cannot believe that actually happened.
And that was the 90s. And so we fast forward to now, 30 years later, we're in a way better spot. We still complain about the umpires all the time, even though they're way, way better than they ever been. Here's a league that we've watched, you and I have watched it like get better in terms of the skill, the women, but the referees have not quite caught up to that.
I wonder and
why. It's a weird thing, right? I mean, like we've watched, and it seems like that's always the case. The refs or the officials are the thing that come along after the advancement of the game, right? Like they had a hard time calling, Shaquille O'Neal and those guys, but it evolved and they figured it out. We're like in mid time of watching referees for this particular league have to make the same advancement that the players have made in some ways.
Yeah, I guess like the referees are kind of put in a tough place because they don't really know what the WNBA is looking for, as in, do they let them play through things? Do they call everything?
Yeah, that's a good point. It's kind of part of the making of the league in some ways, right? Like, we joke about it oftentimes, but the NBA, they made a switch from it being a completely defensive league to a much more offensive league. But they've had iterations of it. I don't know that the WNBA has had that. These women are so skilled now.
Yes.
I just think sometimes it's hard for these referees to call it. I mean, just think, there's probably as good athletes there are that play in the NBA. There's a certain amount of spots for like the best versions of that. Are the WNBA getting the best versions of their referees right now?
I wonder where the referees are coming from. Is it like elevated college referees, or
I don't know. But we got to get to our daily gamble. We're 6 minutes into the segment right now.
No,
so
it's an interesting conversation.
Let's change lanes and get into some gambling.
Do you like money?
I think about money a lot.
Do you like money without doing anything?
Winning.
Do you want to make money while watching sports?
I think Washington is immortal luck.
Washington! Woohoo!
If you answered yes, this is your segment. Just don't blame us when you lose.
Nothing is ever your fault.
It's your game. Take it.
Gwynn and Chris go through the top bets of the day in The Daily Gambit on 97.3 The Fan.
Daily Gambit is our daily sports betting segment here on Gwynn and Chris. Please, everybody, gamble responsibly. I looked for news on the Guardians pitcher over the weekend. I think his name was Luis Ortiz, who was put on paid leave, and no news yet.
The one you were accusing of cheating, of gambling?
I don't think that I accused him of it. I said it was fishy. It was very fishy.
Is that what you said? Okay.
Yeah, but they're definitely gonna. Never mind. I'm not gonna bring up Shohei in this conversation. We're just gonna keep going on to our bets. And the first one, Yu Darvish is back, so we have a choice. It's kind of like a choose your own adventure bet. And how many strikeouts do you think Yu Darvish will have today, Tony? 3+, 4+, 5+, or 6+? And 3 is -400, and then 6+ is +340. So in order to make money on the 3+ strikeouts, you would have to bet 400 to make 100.
What if I don't want to do any of these?
You can, what is it called? What does Chris call it? A non-wager or something?
I'm a non-wager on this one right
You're going to non-wager.
There's too many variables. We don't know how long he's going to go today. Like, we don't know what this pitch count's going to be.
I read that it's going to be like around 70.
If he has
pitches.
70 against this squad, I guess give me +5.
Okay.
Or the 5Ks.
Yeah.
The 5Ks.
All right. +145. You know, I would assume that Yu Darvish is only back because he knows he could pitch to Yu Darvish standards.
For sure.
So I'm going to say he surprises everyone, and he goes 6+ strikeouts. There we go. Now, Tony, who do you think out of the two starters tonight has the most strikeouts thrown in the game? Yu Darvish or Zach Gallen? Zach Gallen is the favorite in this bet. Yu Darvish +125.
Yeah, again, like I'm gonna go no wager, man, because you don't know how long Darvish is gonna go.
I mean, Zach Gallen has a 5.45 ERA this year. He has not.
Padres don't strike out a lot in general, but let's say he uses up his 70 pitches in like 4 innings. Like I don't. You know what? I'm gonna play. I'm gonna play today. I'm gonna be a team player. I'm gonna say Darvish.
I'm looking at Zach Gallen's strikeouts. The last start he had on July 1st, he struck out 10, but in the previous 4 starts past that 10, he only had 2, 5, 6, and 5. So I'm going to go Darvish as well. I don't know why I'm feeling so. I'm if we're happy that Darvish is here,
I'm happy.
Can
I'm
you
excited
imagine
for Darvish,
the reaction in the clubhouse? All right, who's going to have more hits tonight, Tony? And by the way, Luis Ariz is now leading the team in batting average. So he has worked his way back.
Suckers that have been trying to write him off or trade him. You know who you are if you're listening.
Oh, you definitely know who you are.
I know you know who I'm talking about too if you're listening.
I'm trying to think of someone to say right now, and I can't think of it off the top of my head, but it was not us. I can tell you that. We were not the ones trying to get.
Someone who works in our building, for sure.
Was it Chris?
No.
Oh,
matter. Let's keep moving.
Who's going to have more hits in the game? Ketel Marte or Luis Ariz?
Oh, Luis. He's on a heater right now.
He is on a heater. I'm gonna say Luis as well. We're going with the same stuff except for the strikeouts. This is not working out for us. Finally, the Phillies and the Giants tonight. Landon Roop for the Giants, Christopher Sanchez for the Phils, and the Phillies are in San Francisco, and they also have a -1.5 spread on the run line. So, do you think the Giants win this game or at least keep it close?
Nope.
You
Sanchez
go
is
Phillies.
nasty.
We're pretty much going to bet all the way around. I didn't ever really watch Christopher Sanchez this year before he pitched against the Padres. Dude was incredible.
That didn't look like a fun day for a left-handed hitter. I watched that whole game and I was thinking to myself, gosh, this is stressful. Watch it and I'm just broadcasting it. It was stressful.
Yeah, well,
he's throwing like 97 sinkers, and then he's throwing a changeup like same way, same movement, but like 10 mile per hour slower. And then when he threw a slider, he was like dotting it on like the black or like just off. And it's like, no, I got time to be. Then you got to pick a side. I explained it, the conundrum it causes when we were probably about the 6th inning of that game, because at that point he had just established like two-way. Just on corner, and then so when you get one like literally right down the middle, you can't like possibly be ready for it.
Yeah, that doesn't sound fun at all. Just like,
no.
Okay, I hope
he's not throwing enough middle
corner.
balls for you to be like, you know what, I'm just gonna wait for something in the middle. Like you could literally go 2 at bats and never see one in the middle of the plate.
All right, that's it for the Daily Gambit. I'm trying to stay on time. When we get back, Tony's doing the hand signals. Tony and I. We'll talk about the All-Star game and the selections and all of the reserves and the snubs and all of that ahead on 97.
Well, man, wrap it up. I got to use the bathroom, man. See me going side to side over here.
I was like, what is he doing? All right, in that case, I'm going to talk very slow, and we'll be back with the All-Star talk on the other side.
From the 855 Get Ross Traffic Center, protecting San Diego after accidents
Back here at the Odyssey Palace, 97.3 The Fan. I'm in the Odyssey Palace. Tony Gwynn Jr. down at Petco Park. And Tony, we have our all-star teams, and they have been announced. There are actually lots of pretty big-name snubs. We'll go through those in a little bit. But how important is the all-star selection to these guys these days? Because I think a lot of them, Tony, would think it would be much nicer if I could go on vacation for the next 4 days before I have to go back to my team and play some more baseball. I mean, an all-star selection is great, but do they actually want to be there?
I think so. I think so. Saw Toddy's comments. He was prepared to go off and enjoy himself, some peace and serenity. And instead, he canceled that bad boy because it is an honor to go to the all-star game. And especially for a guy like him, grew up watching it and kind of in the same way I did. It means a whole lot to be selected. While looking at the look of Jason Adam when he finds out and just kind of
his first
seeing him experienced in the whole thing. I think these guys definitely care. A guy like Clayton Kershaw who gets in on the Legends pick. My dad went in on that type of pick his last season. You cherish those moments. It's still a big deal to these guys.
Oh, it's really good. I didn't make fun of Clayton Kershaw for going in on the Legends pick, knowing that your dad was a Legends pick as well. Did you hear how Jason Adam found out he was going to the All-Star game?
I did not.
He was in church with his family, and Mike Schilt kept calling him, and his wife kept looking at the phone. Jason Adams' wife kept looking at the phone like, oh, no, we've been traded. We're going somewhere else. and Jason Adam was like, oh, no. I may have been traded. I don't know that he actually said that, but his wife definitely thought they were traded. And so he goes outside and he takes the phone call because he's like, this is pretty important. And then Mike Schilt told him he was an all-star. And so he went back into church and had a much better service after he realized that he wasn't traded. So I thought that was fun.
Given all that he has been through in his career, you can't blame the guy or more importantly, you can't blame his wife for thinking that he might be getting traded when the phone is going off at church. I mean, he's been through.
Go ahead.
He's been through a whole lot, and I think that's kind of a. If you've been through anything like he and his family has, that's a normal kind of response to a phone ringing in church at a time that it doesn't normally ring.
Sunday morning, from a
guy, right? That normally isn't calling you. So. And repeatedly on top of that. And so, but kudos to those guys. For you guys who may not know, the starters on the National League side, Will Smith, Freddie Freeman, Ketel Marte, Manny Machado, Francisco Lindor, Ronald Acuna Jr., Pete Crow Armstrong, Kyle Tucker, and Shohei Ohtani. On the pitching side, the guys who found out yesterday will be Jason Adam, Matthew Boyd of the Cubs, Edwin Diaz, Mackenzie Gore makes his first appearance. We went over Clayton Kershaw, Freddie Peralta, Robbie Ray, Randy Rodriguez from the Giants. He makes his first appearance. Paul Skeens, Logan Webb, Zach Wheeler, and Yamamoto makes his on the pitching side. Reserves, Hunter Goodman. That's the one Rocky selection that gets in.
He's been good this year.
He has been good. I mean, he hasn't been a lot good with Colorado. He's been certainly one of them. Pete Alonso, Ellie De La Cruz, Brendan Donovan makes his first appearance. Matt Olson, Eugenio Suarez are the reserves in the infield. In the outfield, Corbin Carroll, Kyle Stowers of the Miami Marlins, Fernando Tatis Jr., and James Wood, who makes his first along with Stowers on the National League side. I won't get into the American League side just yet. We can get into some of those snubs, though, that you're talking about on the National League side there, sir.
Yes, of course, these are not my opinion. It's an article that was put out by our guy, Matt Snyder. So, we're being led in the right direction. And we talked to Matt Snyder a little bit earlier. So, we know this is a good list. The first snub for the NL he put down, Seiya Suzuki from the Cubs. He has 21 doubles, 3 triples, 24 homers, and a 145 OPS plus. So the DHs went to Shohei Ohtani and Kyle Schwarber, which it's hard to argue that he would make it over them. The other National League, after seeing this guy last week, Christopher Sanchez was a snub, according to Matt Snyder. He's 7-2 this year,
Yeah,
2.68 ERA, 108 strikeouts. His 3.8 WAR is already more than he posted last year, so that's another snub. Michael Busch of the Cubs. It says basically that he had a late surge that probably cost him a spot, so we don't really need to spend too much time on that one.
You know what may have cost Sanchez is the legendary pick.
What is that?
The legend pick. We just
Oh yeah. Oh, I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying.
That may have been the spot that ends up could have been Sanchez.
Well, now I'm mad at Clayton Kershaw for taking Christopher Sanchez's spot because, of course,
legend. Sometimes you just got to deal with
it. Trey Turner from the Phillies. He entered Sunday hitting 301, 121 OPS plus, 22 stolen bases. So they're saying that he could have been snubbed.
Now, are we gonna do this for real? Like the biggest oversight.
I'm getting to it. This is the next name on the list.
I didn't know if we were playing the game of we're not going to mention him or what we were doing.
It's actually not a snub. It was expected.
I forget Chris I forgot Chris was here for a second. But go ahead.
The name that Tony wants me to say is Juan Soto of the New York Mets. He was also snubbed. And I have a couple questions. Now, the fan vote is what gets you to be a starter. But
Correct.
Then you're voted in by players and coaches after that? Is that what happened? So what happened here? Is this like a popularity contest vote?
No, to be fair, his normal numbers, he's hitting 271 this year. He's still got a gang of home runs. I mean, he's got 21. He's got 51 RBIs. I guess you could make an argument that, this isn't Juan Soto at his best at this point, but he had to climb some ways to get to these numbers that he's at. I still think it's a snub, but there might be some envy around the league. There could be, man.
That's really funny to me.
These managers got to deal with them every time too. I mean, it's human nature a little bit. I wouldn't be surprised. They were feeling some type of way, like, oh man, forget this guy, man. We
face him all the time.
He's too busy thrusting in our face all the time. Get him out of here.
He's the third in majors in on-base percentage. He's slugging over 500. He's already got 10 steals too. I don't know how he did not make this all-star
You know what's
game.
funny is I can't. The only reason why you wouldn't like Juan Soto is because of the way he plays. Because there's really nothing else out there for you, honestly. He's not in trouble. He's not, he shows he seems to really like his job.
Yeah, he's never in trouble.
So I don't know. Just my thought. Go ahead. I digress.
It is very, very strange that he did not make the team. But when they asked him after the game for his thoughts on not making the team, he said, "I got to play better." So he's taking accountability for it.
Somebody's gonna be mad if he said that too. What a jerk! He said he's got to play better.
I don't know what else he can say. What if he said, "Oh yeah, this is a huge snub. I'm going to be, on a tear for the rest of the season."
I'm so glad he didn't say that because it would have just been
me too.
To have to defend
some others that were snubbed, but you could see them being snubbed. Andy Pajes of the Dodgers. He's been pretty good.
He's had a good season, man. I can see it. I can see that's a that's a young guy hang with him snub.
293 this year, 15 doubles, 17 homers.
That's definitely worthy.
It is.
193, 17 homers. Yeah, dog. That's good stuff.
Christian Yelich, he has 17 homers, 61 RBIs, and 13 stolen bases this year. He was another snub. And then
the outfield's tough this year. That Stowers, Fernando.
Yeah.
If Fernando doesn't have the insane end of March, all of April that start, we're not having the same conversation.
Now, last snub, we talked about it briefly. Nick Pivetta, I think, got snubbed from the pitching staff, and that could be another Clayton Kershaw casualty of getting the Legends pick. He is 9-2 this year, 3.25 ERA, 1.04 WHIP, and 107 strikeouts in 97 innings. So I have a feeling he might be one of the first to be called up and become an all-star if some of these guys drop out. But huge snub in my eyes, Tony.
Yeah. Nick was definitely worthy of having a shot. at getting there. He's been our best pitcher all season long. There's just a lot of really good pitchers out there. You know, that's what made Jason Adams so impressive. I mean, it's all starters.
There's
and
3 relievers
and a closer and closers. The only reliever, like non-closer, is Jason Adams.
Yeah. What do you think about Jason Adams making it over Robert Suarez?
Have you seen the numbers?
I have. Robert Suarez has like 25 saves this year.
I mean, saves are just saves. I mean, you know, it's not as much. Adams' numbers, I think, are superior.
Yes.
Taking out saves because he doesn't get an opportunity to do that. Robert.
All right. I can't argue with it.
No.
Suarez is going to have a nice 4 days off, which I think
I'm sure he's going to really enjoy that too.
He's going to. Do you know anything about Robert Suarez off the field? Like, does he enjoy finger painting? Does he like?
Nope.
What does he
and
like
I think
to
he
do?
likes it that way. He
is very. He's very quiet.
Just fade to black.
All right.
You know, he's going to enjoy his vacation, and boom, he's going to pop up on Friday, and we're going to be in Washington ready to play baseball.
And he'll be closing games for the San Diego Padres for the rest
Bada
of the
bing, bada boom.
season. All right, that's it for the All-Star snub talk. When we get back, we got some more Gwynn and Chris fun on 97.3 The Fan. Another reason you should be watching on YouTube is you get to see me do little dances when we go back into the show with our music. I'm not a good dancer. I'm actually maybe the worst dancer of all time. I'm Matt Scraby. This is Gwynn and Chris. Chris Ello on vacation. Tony Gwynn Jr. about to rejoin me for Padres Pen Pals, which we had some pretty happy Pen Pals this week, except for one guy. He was not so happy with us, and I will share that in just a little bit. But there is some housekeeping I should mention real quick before we get into Padres Pen Pals. They have reinstated Yu Darvish from the 60-day IL. They have transferred Michael King to the 60-day IL, which is not a big deal. I'll get to Michael King and some news and development in just a second. And the Padres have optioned Kyle Hart to AAA El Paso. One thing Tony and I didn't talk about was how good Kyle Hart was yesterday. I believe 11. He sat down 11 batters out of 11 possible batters. That was pretty good stuff. Kyle Hart, I like a good story like Kyle Hart. He's part of that crew, the Lost Boys, and there was 5 guys in 2020 that made their major league debut in that COVID season, and they never got to pitch in front of fans. And the only guy from that group that got to pitch in front of fans later on was Kyle Hart. All the other guys just never made it back to the big leagues. So that's a pretty big deal, I think. Pretty big deal. So good on Kyle Hart. I think we're going to see him back up for the second half of the season. He could be a really, really valuable bullpen piece. I don't think he's starter value for the second half of the season, but if they can get him to come out of the bullpen like that, long relief, whatever they need, that would be good stuff. Now, Michael King, we just talked about him being transferred to the 60-day IL. It's like a clerical thing. It's not it's not bad news. It's not setback news or anything like that. Jeff Sanders tweeted earlier today, about 30 minutes ago, Michael King played catch today. He will get out to 120 feet tomorrow. On Thursday, he will throw off a mound for the first time. The team, he said, is not calling that an official bullpen, more of a touch and feel, but is clear momentum forward now that his nerve is firing. I like to hear all of that. And Michael King now, it was a joke I made earlier with someone. Michael King now needs to get he really needs to get an endorsement for a bed company, because I think it's just a perfect thing for him. He comes back. Imagine it. He comes back. He just lights out throughout the rest of the year. And he says, it's all because of my new bed. And it's perfect. I don't understand how you can't get a bed company endorsement after that. So Michael King is looking better, coming back slower than we wanted, but he is making his way back nonetheless. And Yu Darvish is going to start tonight for the Padres. So he has made his way all the way back. I was, when I heard it was going to be bullpen day on Sunday, I was like, oh man, Mike Schilt kind of teased that Yu Darvish may be ready to pitch on Sunday, but then I saw that he was starting Monday. So it really took the bad feels out of my sails. And I ended up, being happy about that, because they need Yu Darvish. They need him. It's not even a question. It's a statement that they need him, and it could be a pretty good boost for everyone out there, or everyone out there as in fans, and also everybody on the team as well, because Yu Darvish can do some great things. All right, we will get into Padres Pen Pals in just a second, but wanted to tell you about this. At some point during the show, not right now, during the show, you will have a chance to win 2 tickets to the Padres Diamondbacks game this Wednesday. The first 40,000 fans are going to receive a free Padres City Connect straw hat. First 40,000 fans, a free Padres City Connect straw hat. Get tickets at padres.com/tickets. Now, the way you win, not right now, I'm going to play this so everybody knows, and it's not right now, so don't call. How many times can I say that? This is what you're listening for. As soon as you hear this, from now until the end of the show, give us a call, 833-288-0973. First caller will win those tickets. But here is what you are listening for.
And now Fernando 2 for 2 with 2 homers at the plate. This pitch swung on, hit in the air, straightaway center field. Smith going back, running out of room. It's going to go! Another one!
That was Fernando against the Diamondbacks 2021 when he hit 3 home runs in his first 3 at-bats. I thought maybe he's going to hit 4, maybe he's going to hit 5, but he didn't. He ended up with 3 in that game. So that is the sound clip that you are listening for from now until the end of the show. If you hear that sound clip at any time, then you need to give us a call. First caller will win the tickets to the game on Wednesday. So keep a listen out for that. All right. When we get back, we're not going anywhere because we're going to go ahead to traffic, tell you what's going on the roads, and then another edition of Padres Pen Pals.
From the
Leagues.org. I'm Kelly Danick with Gwynn and Chris, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
It's time to ask the experts, Padres fans.
I was hoping maybe you can bring a little insight into it.
Write us, tweet us, Facebook us, send a carrier pigeon for Chris. He thinks they're cute. Padres Pen Pals begins.
Hurt the pelota big time.
Now, on 97.3 The Fan.
Well, what a difference a week makes. I have more positive Padre Pen Pal questions today than I do negative, although I do have someone who is very angry with us for how we've been treating the quote-unquote doomers in the last couple weeks. So I can't wait to share that with everybody because it's hilarious. It's going to be a little bit different today because Chris is not here, so we won't have any of his astute opinions, but we'll start with Fernando Tatis Jr. Actually, we'll start with this. If you love Mediterranean food, try Spiro's for authentic Mediterranean cuisine in Coronado or La Jolla. For dining or takeout options, visit spiroscuisine.com. All right, first one. Fernando's All-Star selection has created a huge debate in my group text chat. There are a few Dodger fans in there since I went to college up in LA, and they think Fernando is being selected for the All-Star team because it's a quote-unquote brand name vote. I wouldn't admit this, but they did make some good points. They texted that if you take out the biggest year of his career, Fernando has hit 277 with an 860 OPS. All 5 seasons but 2021 seem to be very similar numbers. So they were saying maybe this is just who he is and the Padres overpaid, which I thought was hilarious when the Dodgers have Glasnow and Snell making $11 billion and have not really pitched it all this year. So Tony, up first. Is this who Fernando actually is?
Yeah, maybe. Not a bad player at all, by the way. I think this is kind of the, it's part of the consequence of getting, suspended, right? Is that people can form these opinions. And they don't even have to be true. It just they are out there, and it's a thought. And so, first of all, if they were arguing about the All-Star selection, I don't see how him being who he is outside of 2021 really is relevant to the conversation.
It's a Dodgers logic.
Crazy logic. Nonetheless, I think the jury's still out on that. Honestly, it's too. He has, although he is 6 years in to this bad boy.
Yes.
He's only played in 3.5 seasons.
That's true.
Fully.
Yeah.
This is so far. Let me find some wood. The healthiest he's been throughout from at least the start of the season to this point. And so, if he can put together a full season, whatever that looks like, 150, 155, maybe a little less, maybe a little more, you can start to kind of then put together some ideas. It would really be one of the first full seasons he's completed. And so I think the jury's still out, to answer your question.
Okay, yeah, I think the jury's still out. But if he is a 277 guy with an 860 OPS, I'll take that. That's pretty good.
That's pretty good.
That's not bad
really
at all.
Good. Yeah.
In this day and age, 277 is high, I guess. If you're talking about a batting average, an 860 OPS has got some slug in there. He's going to be hitting home runs, doubles, all that. If this is he is, I will take it.
I think it's more contingent on health than it is anything.
Yes. Yeah. Because like you said, I'm gonna start bringing an actual block of wood to work so that I can start knocking on a block of, because I keep knocking on this Formica and it's just not working.
That's the real deal.
Yeah, I did think it was funny that this person said that the Dodgers fans don't really care that Blake Snell and Glasnow haven't pitched yet this year to earning their money, and I'm like, yeah,
it's delusional.
It's a delusional Dodgers fan. What are you doing over there? What are you doing? All right, next one. I keep hoping for the Padres offense to get it going and have been watching a few things closely. One part of their game that's changed lately is Padres hitters walking. In the last 2 weeks, they have drawn the fourth most walks as a team, but ranked 28th in baseball in runs scored over the same period. I'm up first. Is this the sign of the offense starting to find balance, even if lots of runs aren't being scored? I've been paying attention to a lot of what Mike Schilt has been saying recently, and he said he keeps using the word stingy. They need to be stingier. They need to have tougher at bats. They need to make the pitcher work a little bit more, and that's exactly what they're doing. I mean, they're walking a lot. They had 9 walks last week. They had 5 yesterday, I believe. So they're getting on base. They're just not able to get those hits with runners in scoring position. I thought Xander had a grand slam yesterday. I was ready to cheer, but they're just not getting those hits. However, getting on base is half the battle, and if they keep getting on base, it will break through at some point. I actually heard you and Jesse talking about the offense yesterday, and you guys were both saying it's hard to say this, but it feels like it's about to break back out to the offense we saw earlier in the year. So, Tony, is this the sign of the offense starting to find balance, even if lots of runs aren't being scored?
You hope so. I think I've always been a big proponent of creating the opportunities are more important, because it just eventually you're able to knock some in. And yesterday was a much better, or last night's game was a much better example of that. And I just think part of what makes you think that it could be, starting to trend in the right direction is the at bats. You're seeing much longer at bats, and it's not from like two or three guys. It was really everybody being able to do it, and I think that is what made them so successful at the end of March and all through April, was that they did that pretty consistently. And I think now, seeing them kind of put that together, we'll get a 4-game stretch of it here. There's no off days, so you'd be able to kind of lock that type of approach in, because you're just going to be playing games all week. I think we'll be paying close attention to it moving forward.
All right. This is why people can't freak out during a baseball season. It's very long. There's many different. Tony just gave me the ugh. All right, next one. I noticed something about the series over the weekend about how the Rangers handled the Padres lineup twice. On Friday, in the bottom of the 9th, with the game tied 2-2 and 2 outs, the Rangers intentionally walked Fernando to get to Jackson Merrill. It put 2 guys on and a righty-lefty pitching matchup. Then last night, with the game 3-1 in the bottom of the 6th, the Rangers intentionally walked Fernando to get to Jackson Merrill for the left-on-left matchup. So, Tony, is this intentionally walking of Fernando matchup base, or does this tell you how feared he is as a hitter?
I think it doesn't. I think it says a little bit of everything, and not just those 2 things. I think in one case it had nothing to do with matchup. It had the matchup that they were hunting was Merrill. That's what they were going to. And yes, Toddy has swung the bat better, but I think it has more to do with that Jackson hasn't swung the bat well as to why they are hunting that matchup. Whether it was left on left or right on left, they hunted it twice because that's the matchup they identified that if we're picking between those 2, that's what we're going with. And I think that's probably more indicative of how Jackson has swung the bat versus Fernando.
I was excited to hear your answer because I figured you were going to say it's more about Jackson than it is Fernando, but I wanted to also ask you, were you ever was someone ever intentionally walked in front of you to get to you?
Of course.
How did that make you feel? Like, doesn't it make you kind of feel like, what? They did that?
It doesn't make me feel like what? It just made me want to get a hit.
Okay.
Like make them look bad. That's what it made me want to do.
Yeah, unfortunately, Jackson did not make them look bad, but hey, again, there's going to be plenty of time in this season, but it's I guess when you're picking your poison, you pick the guy who's swinging the bat worse than the guy who's swinging the bat slightly better. And so you pick Jackson over Fernando, or you picked Fernando over Jackson.
I mean, I think it was if in the building it was obvious what they were going to do before it happened. Like Jackson is he's got something going on right now in terms of his mechanics, and they see that. And so it's not even, I mean, Toddy swung the bat well yesterday, but I don't know that it was avoiding. It was probably as much of hunting that matchup as I said versus Toddy.
All right. Final one, and it's going to be a Mad fan. This one's funny. You call me a doomer, I call me a realist. You call me stupid, I call you stupid. I would much rather be on the side of the concerned fan because then I don't look like a low IQ baseball fan when they prove to be exactly what they are, a 500 team. I've had enough of your show, and I've had enough of you trying to paint a rosy picture when the outlook is dark. This longtime listener is now done listening to your show. I can't handle the false truths and the constant defending of an underperforming team. At least I will be able to sleep at night knowing I am not a sellout. I mean, I'm up first. There's no real question here, but these are sometimes the messages that I get because people think, I take it as a compliment. They're listening and they think we're talking to them. And so I think that's a good thing. But you can't be so angry about us trying to talk about a team that's struggling and then has periods of time when they're winning. It's not an easy thing to you have to stay balanced, especially with this team. So I think it's funny when he says, you call me stupid, I call you stupid. It's like, what are we, 5? Doomers always end up going back to like the 5-year-old thing. Yeah, like the point and laugh type of thing. So good thing you'll be able to sleep at night. I mean, if you don't want to listen to our show, fine. That's okay with me. It's not for everyone, but I know you will be because I told you we're going to bring this up. So, I got you to listen. Tony, anything to add about this one?
I hope he doesn't listen no more. I really do. And by the way, if you turn out to be right, you will just have gotten lucky. That is all it is. That your IQ is not any higher than it is right now.
Yeah. Do you
Baseball
want to be
IQ.
right?
Baseball
Doomer
IQ.
or realist or whatever you want to call yourself?
Sounds like the realist wants to be right. And so
it boggles my mind how so many people are like, well, they got lucky in that win. Let's see what happens in game 140. Like, okay.
Yeah. Go watch that. Tell whoever, my man, tell them go watch the Angels. Check out the Angels.
Or you want to
be
watch
a Dodger fan. There you go. Then you can have it your way.
Or if you want to be a bad team fan, go to be a Cleveland Guardians fan. They've lost 10 in a row. You could be in that juncture of the season.
The moral of the story is there's 29 other teams if you don't really want to.
Yeah.
Be on the fan side.
I'm sorry to you, Mr. Doomer. That's what we got for you. That's Padres Pen Pals. When we get back, I'm going to be trying to play a game by myself. We're going to see how this goes, and we'll be giving out a prize on 97.3 The Fan.
Padres.
At least for this week, it is going to be Tony and myself, and then you'll get me in between. Thank you for listening. I'm Matt Scraby. This is 97.3 The Fan, Gwynn and Chris. We're about to play a game, and I already have my players on the line. I don't know how this is going to go. It's one of those, everybody. It's one of those things where I have tried to come up with something, and I'm not reinventing the wheel here by any stretch of the imagination. So we're going to see how it goes. I have my two players on right now, and I'll explain the game in just a second. You'll be qualified for a chance to win our grand prize, a 2-night stay at the Park MGM Las Vegas, 2 tickets to Motley Crue on September 19th, and a $100 gas card. Catch Motley Crue's Las Vegas residency at Dolby Live at Park MGM September 12th through October 3rd. Tickets at Ticketmaster.com. I'm going to get into the rules in just a second, but I have to let everybody know real quick that Michael King has spoken with the media today in the clubhouse. So next segment around 4:18 or 4:20, we will be hearing from Michael King about his throwing today, about the plan going forward, about when Michael King is going to potentially rejoin this rotation. Again, if you're just tuning in and you don't know, Yu Darvish is officially rejoining the rotation today. He has been reinstated from the 60-day IL, and he's going to be pitching tonight for the Padres. There's no real indication on whether or not he's going to be able to throw 100 pitches or 20 pitches, but I read earlier today it was going to be around 65 to 70 pitches. So we'll see how long it takes for him to get to 65 or 70, but I'm thinking that the bullpen and Mike Schilt want him to go at least 5. Maybe that's too much to ask. I don't think so from someone like Yu Darvish. Yu Darvish was not going to come back until he was 100% ready and knew that he could pitch at a high level. So I don't think that he's coming back with okay, I'm only going my 3 innings today. It could be that way, but I think Yu Darvish is going to try to go as long as he can, at least 5th inning, if he's not too high in his pitch count throughout the earlier innings. So we'll see what happens with that. But we will hopefully have some Mike Schilt audio a little bit later I'm sure people or the media is asking about Yu Darvish's plan tonight. And I'm sure Mike Schilt's not going to give any sort of indication as to what the plan is. But I read 65 to 70 pitches today. So we'll have to see what happens tonight. Also, Fernando Tatis Jr. spoke to the media about his all-star selection. So we will play that a little bit later. We still have the big 5 here in this hour, and then next hour we will be getting into more of the preview for tonight's game between the Padres and the Diamondbacks. Now this week the schedule is pretty simple. Every single game this week for the Padres is at 6:40 p.m. or I should say weekday games at 6:40 p.m. So we will have a show all week from 2 to 5:35, and the schedule couldn't be easier this week. So that's what you have heading into your all-star break for the Padres. And like I said, we'll get into the Michael King audio in the next segment. So stick around for that. But right now we're going to try and play a game. And I really, really don't know how it's going to go. But again, like I said, I'm not trying to reinvent the wheel or anything like that. But I'm trying to have a little bit of fun while Chris is out and we can't play Chris versus the fans. We've tried to play Chris versus the fans when Chris is out before. It just doesn't work. We played Sammy versus the fans, didn't work. We played Dave Marcus versus the fans, didn't work. The only person this works with is Chris Ello. So we are changing the game slightly. Here is what you are going to do for the players on the phone. Listen up. I'm going to get you on the line in just a second, but there are 18 all-star starters this year. The players on the no, we're not going to name the pitchers. 18 all-star starters. The DH is in there for the pitcher spot. So we're just basically going to go back and forth. And I'm also hoping that there's no cheating. There's no Googling of this or anything like that. But you have to be able to get farther than the other contestant. And you have 3 strikes. So if you strike out first, you're out. The other contestant wins. And if you guys keep going back and forth, It could be a pretty fun game, and I'll end up figuring out a tiebreaker if that does indeed happen. So here's our first contestant, Steve. Hello, Steve. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. All right. Did you hear? You're going to be naming 18 all-star starter selections, and the DH is in for the pitcher. You have 3 strikes in a time limit, or you have 3 strikes, and you're going to go back and forth. So I just want to make sure you're still there. I'm going to put you back on hold real quick, and I'm going to go to our second contestant, Juan. Hello, Juan.
What's up?
Not too much. Did you hear the rule? I mean, the game, you kind of self-explanatory, right?
Yeah, I heard it.
Okay. All right. I'm going to go put Juan back on hold. I'm going to try to get some music for this because we need a little bit of music. I don't know. Let's see. There we go. All right. So first, we're just going to go back and forth. So I'm going to have to do a little bit of hold and then get you back on the line and then hold and get you back on the line. So give me a second. Let's go first to Steve. Steve, you are up first. Give me a name of one of the 18 all-star starter selections.
Manny Machado.
Manny Machado is correct. All right. Stay there, Steve. Juan, give me a name of someone who made the all-star team and is a starter.
Will Smith.
Will Smith is correct, the catcher for the National League. Put you back on hold, Juan. Steve, give me another one.
Shohei Ohtani.
Shohei Ohtani, DH is correct. Put you back on hold. I'm gonna stop saying put you back on hold. Juan, give me another name.
Aaron Judge.
Aaron Judge is correct. He is the outfield for the Yankees in the American League. We go back to Steve. Steve, give me a name.
Jacob Wilson.
Oh, that's a tough one. Steve got the tough one. Jacob Wilson at shortstop for the A's. That is a really good one for the American League. Let's go back to Juan. Hello, Juan. You're up again.
Francisco Lindor.
Francisco Lindor is correct. Shortstop for the National League of the New York Mets. This is going way better than I thought it was going, and I hope you guys aren't cheating. Steve, you're up.
Freddie Freeman.
Freddie Freeman is correct. First base selection or first base starter for the National League. We are yet to have a strike yet, so that's pretty good. Juan, you're up.
Ketel Marte.
Ketel Marte, second baseman for the Diamondbacks, is correct. So we have only 3 National League players left and 6 American League players left. Hope these guys aren't cheating. Steve, you're up.
Jose Ramirez.
Jose Ramirez is one. Yes, he is the third base starter for the American League. Nice job. Juan, go ahead.
Pete Crow Armstrong.
Pete Crow Armstrong is correct. Nice job. Outfielder for the Cubs. He is a starter for the National League. And earlier this year, I made one of the worst predictions of all time when I said, worst statements of all time when I said, it's not like Pete Crow Armstrong is Babe Ruth or anything. And then Pete Crow Armstrong goes on to be a starting all-star. I forget who I left off on. Did I ask?
Next.
Steve. Okay, Steve.
Yeah.
Give me a name.
And now I'm lost. So,
I will help you. I will help you if you name someone you've already named.
I'm going to go with I'm taking a strike right now.
Ooh, a strike. Okay, I like that. That means Steve is actually playing, not cheating. Good job, Steve. I appreciate that. Steve has 1 strike, though. Juan, you're up.
Kyle Tucker.
Kyle Tucker from the Cubs is another outfielder. So, Juan, this is kind of like Chris's Fantabulous Game Show, now that I'm thinking about it. No wonder it came so easily and quickly to me. Steve, you have 1 strike, but give me a name.
Yordan Alvarez.
Yordan Alvarez. Incorrect. I'm sorry, Steve. Incorrect. You have 2 strikes. He is not one of the starters. I cannot name. I was just about to name who is the DH, but I'm not going to. So I'm going to keep it right. Stay right there, Steve. Juan, you're up. Oops, sorry, Juan, you were down. Now go ahead.
One of my son's favorite players, Ronald Acuna Jr.
Ronald Acuna Jr. is correct. Juan is cruising right now. So is Steve, really. But no more National League All-Stars starters. Now we have 6 Yeah, 6 American League starters. So, Steve, now it's your turn. Name me an American League starter.
Julio Rodriguez.
Julio Rodriguez. Unfortunately,
Should've gone Cal.
That's it. Oh, man. Steve, you know what? I'm going to keep you right there, Steve, for just a second. See if Juan can name one more just to make it official. Juan, give me one more name.
This dude is a stud from the Mariners, Cal Raleigh.
Cal Raleigh is correct. Juan, you have won the game. Steve, thank you for playing. Juan, you stay right there. Steve, I appreciate you playing along and not cheating because you took that strike on your own. That's what we're talking about, people. That's what we want. We want people to play, nicely, play within the rules. I don't know if we'll do that game again, but Steve, thank you for playing. Juan, thank you for playing. You are the winner. Stay right there. The other ones that were not named in the American League, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. at first base, Gleyber Torres, which that would have been really hard for me, at second base, Riley Green, outfielder of the Tigers, Javi Baez, outfielder for the Tigers, and then the DH, instead of Yordan Alvarez, it's Ryan O'Hearn from the Baltimore Orioles. So those are the guys that everybody missed. But Juan is the winner of this chance for a qualification to the grand prize. 2-night stay at Park MGM Las Vegas, 2 tickets to Motley Crue on September 19th, and a $100 gas card. Catch Motley Crue's Las Vegas residency at Dolby Live at Park MGM September 12th through October 3rd. Tickets at Ticketmaster.com. Thank you to everybody for letting me try that out. And again, it's more like Chris's Fantabulous Sports Game Show. As we go through the week, I think if we do it again, it's going to get better. But when we get back, we're going to hear from Michael King here on 97.3 The Fan, Gwynn and Chris. But first, your traffic report.
From the 855, get Ross traffic.
my first day in radio, I just did the open without the microphone on. Hello, everybody. It's Matt Scraby here, filling in for Gwynn and Chris. Gwynn will be back for the Big Five shortly. Chris is on vacation for the rest of the week. He will rejoin us next week during the All-Star break, which a little bit later I'm going to talk about the dog days of summer. Someone told me, oh, you're entering the dog days of summer. And I was like, what is the dog days of summer? But I looked it up, and it makes sense. It makes sense why they call it the dog days of summer. But the All-Star break is the dog days of summer for Sports Talk Radio. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But Michael King, also real quick before we go any further, the Fernando sound effect is not played yet, so you have not had your opportunity to win the tickets to the Diamondbacks and Padres on Wednesday. So stay tuned for that. We do have this. And Fernando Tatis Jr. leading off, playing right field. Jackson Merrill batting second, playing center field. Manny Machado batting third, playing third. Luis Arraez playing first, batting cleanup. Gavin Sheets in left field, batting fifth. Xander Bogaerts, shortstop, batting sixth. Jake Cronenworth, second base, batting seventh. Trenton Brooks DHing at the 8th spot. And then Martin Maldonado catching at the 9th spot with Yu Darvish pitching. That kind of tells me something, I guess, a little bit, that Martin Maldonado is trusted by the Padres coaching staff to handle Yu Darvish in his first start of the year. That is good stuff. Martin Maldonado had a big part of yesterday's game. And it's almost like whenever you think, okay, we can't handle this anymore. We can't do the 170 hitting anymore. We can't do this. Well, it almost seems like whenever that it gets to that point, he ends up having a big game, hitting a home run, having a multi-hit game, something like that, that makes you think, okay, maybe he's still got it. Maybe he's still got it in there somewhere. Again, I think that this was the Padres' plan all along, to have a catcher that's, better defensively than they are offensively, but it does stink when you get to the bottom of the lineup and you're like, oh man, here comes the catcher. And it's basically an automatic out. But he had a huge role in yesterday's game. So hopefully he has a huge role tonight. And also what I said earlier today, I like Trenton Brooks. Trenton Brooks is the DH. He's a lefty. So you have that off the bench. You also can use him as the DH because he's got power. We saw him hit a home run in his first at bat as a Padre against the Dodgers. Trenton Brooks hits the ball hard too, and he hasn't really had a crazy amount of opportunities so far this year. But when he does hit the ball, he puts it in play, and he makes it hard on the defense. I mean, he's had 3 extra base hits so far in like 18 at bats. So I think that he needs to get on base a little bit more, but I think that's going to start to tick up as he gets more comfortable with the team. But I don't mind Trenton Brooks whatsoever being the DH for right now. And we heard AJ Preller say earlier that there was going to be he wants to add a bat or two. So I don't know what that means for Trenton Brooks, but here's some time right now to prove that you are the guy to be the DH for this team. And with Gavin Sheets in left field, do you really need a left fielder anymore? Gavin Sheets is playing some good left field. He's not the prototypical left fielder. He's maybe not even the left fielder that you want out there. But on this team with no left fielder, I think Gavin Sheets has stepped in and done an amazing job learning how to play left field on the fly. We talk about Jackson Merrill playing center field on the fly last year, learning how to play center field on the fly last year. Gavin Sheets is kind of doing the same thing. And he is, I can't say less athletic, but I would say he's Jackson Merrill had a better chance at center field than I thought Gavin Sheets would have in left field, just because Jackson Merrill is a shortstop. He's an athlete. He can play anywhere. He's quick. He's just a baseball player. But Gavin Sheets this year has shown me a lot about who he is and also what he can do. And like at this point in the year, I almost think that what we're seeing from Gavin Sheets is who he's going to be if he sticks around with the Padres. Now, we'll see how the rest of the season goes. But so far, when Gavin Sheets comes up, I don't think anybody is like thinking, hey, This is not good for the Padres because Gavin Sheets has done a lot this year. Also, Jake Cronenworth has been pretty good as of late. And I'm saying as of late, maybe the last 4 or 5 games, but definitely the series over the weekend. Jake Cronenworth had a really nice series, and it just makes the lineup that much longer. If you're able to have a guy in the 7th spot like Jake Cronenworth hitting a home run or driving in some RBIs, it's just so much better, so much easier for this team. But when you have the bottom of the lineup not doing anything, you can just see the struggle in that lineup. But if Jake Cronenworth can turn it around, he's already, I guess not turn it around, but if Jake Cronenworth can start hitting consistently, I'm not talking about home runs. I'm just talking about getting on base, moving the runners, those sort of things. Because Jake Cronenworth, we've seen it before. He can be very, very good at the plate. And I don't think that's gone. I think he had a bad year a couple years ago. He got injured, or was it 2023 that he got injured? Jake Cronenworth was great in that COVID season, but he's been kind of he's a fan favorite, but some fans are like, what are we doing paying this guy? I think he's making what he is. Let me start that over. Here's one of my things where my brain goes faster than my mouth. I think that Jake Cronenworth is not being overpaid. I think he can do a little bit more to maximize what they're paying him, but I don't think his contract is a problem at all. Someone's contract might be a problem next year or in the offseason. Michael King. He is a free agent this year. We know he's missed about 2 months now, ever since, or maybe 6 weeks. It was right around my birthday, May 25th, that he ended up waking up, sleeping wrong on his shoulder, and then everything started from there. When he was supposed to start against the Braves, and they had to scratch him, and Sean Reynolds started instead. But ever since then, it's been, when is Michael King going to get back? Well, Michael King spoke with the media earlier today, and he started off talking about kind of his injury and why it's better. It's a nerve thing rather than a soft tissue thing. So let me get Michael King all queued up, and then we will hear from your guy, Michael King.
Obviously, it was a nerve thing, so it wasn't like a soft tissue thing, so I don't have to try to make sure that something's healed properly. It's just everything in there was great going into it. It's just nerve shut off, so now I'm getting nerve firing again. It's just that normal buildup, and trying to stay safe, but try to push as much as I can because I want to be back as soon as possible.
How has this period been for you, waiting for it to fire?
It was tough. First couple of weeks, especially not knowing what it was, and not being able to move my arm in a way that I've moved my entire life was definitely weird. But we grinded through it, and yeah, I know I said the other day, I feel like I can see the light at the end of the tunnel, and it's now just a normal build-up. So I feel like I'm almost in spring training all over again, and just trying to get ready as fast as possible.
You Darvish on the mound tonight again. What does that mean for this team?
Oh my God! I mean, you can probably see it on my face. Just seeing him doing his homework over there is nice to see. So he was watching all the video on the Diamondbacks yesterday. So it's just nice to see him back in his routine. He's he's a big part of this team, and even without him, he was coaching up a lot of us. So it's really nice to see him back out there competing. And yeah, I can't wait to watch today.
Mike, just for those of us who joined late, what's the latest on what you're doing right now?
Oh, you joined late, so I got to repeat. Now I tomorrow will be more of a heavier day. Throw back to 120. I only go back to 120 with maybe some throws off the mound, but just kind of, that's like, instead of doing a little flat ground, I don't like being on flat ground. It'll be off the mound, and then Thursday will be my first time like really fully touching the mound.
So it sounds like.
So you heard it right there. That was hilarious that Sam Levitt got in a little bit of trouble with Michael King, but obviously it was a little bit of a joke. Sounds good. All sounds very, very good for Michael King. And it is nice, I guess, to know that it's more of a nerve thing, a soft tissue thing. Like he's not trying to get past a pulled muscle or anything like that. He's getting past the nerve thing, and they keep saying to get it firing again. Sounds painful, honestly. It really does. But the addition of Yu Darvish, you saw it in his face right there. If you're watching on the YouTube, and by the way, you can watch on YouTube. All of our shows are on YouTube. Just go to YouTube, search 97.3 The Fan. Yu Darvish is going to bring a morale boost to the team tonight. So they're getting, slowly but surely, they're getting some of those rotation pieces back. Michael King sounds like he's going to be back before we know it. Definitely, I wouldn't think, let's see, it's July 7th. I can't see it being before August with the All-Star break and everything, but I would think August is a good time to look for Michael King coming back and rejoining the rotation. Hey, if the Padres can stay afloat, which they have been doing, if they can stay afloat until these guys get back, look out. Now they got all of their horses in the rotation, and that's a big deal. That is a huge deal. All right, you're listening to Gwynn and Chris. I'm Matt Scravy. Gwynn will rejoin me here on the other side. Chris Ello is on vacation. He is going to be back next week, but we have the Big Five coming up next, and I asked Tony for a little bit of something about Fernando. I also get into something that Gary Payton, the glove, said over the weekend about OKC and the Supersonics, and the glove was very passionate about this. So stick around. Big Five is next on 97.3 The Fan.
I mean, I think first you can have that belief when you put the kind of work in that you do, that your body's going to heal right, and just trusting it. You talked about being an extension of the coaching staff. I would guess that that's going to be even more so this year with you not being able to actually do the physical part.
Yeah.
Is there something that you've tried to do this offseason to kind of get you into that mode in terms of being that extension? Because the reality is, although your arm might be useless in 25 this year, your mind's not going to be. And there's still a lot of guys, especially the ones who may be vying for your spot in the rotation, that could lean on you a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, it's my job to help prepare these guys the best I can, and like guys like Waldron, guys like Randy Vasquez, Johnny Brito, those are guys that are have really good stuff and are not far away from being middle of the rotation to top half starting pitchers.
Yeah.
So trying to share some things. That's something we talk about all the time in the clubhouse. Is like you bring something to the table on the field. Every day. That's kind of what brings you here and gets you to this level. But, days that you're not playing as a starting pitcher, that's, a majority of our days. You pitch once every 5 days. So making sure you bring something to the table is, something we always talk about. So even though, like you said, I'm not going to be physically on the field pitching, I got to find a way to contribute. And a lot of that's just been, better communication with the staff. And I'm really excited this year to be able to sit in more of the coaches' meetings and see how they game plan and how they, come about their approach to certain teams. And, I feel like when I come back in 26, I'm going to have a whole plethora of knowledge and things that I hadn't experienced before to add into my game. So.
I just have to say this. I play with a lot of guys, and not all of them are going to take as serious as Joe is taking this part serious, which is getting into those coaches' meetings. Coaches are here a lot earlier than the players,
Are they, man?
especially during spring training. So the fact that he's going to be willing to do that, I think that's awesome, man. That's what separates you from a lot of these other guys out there.
We're talking to Joe Musgrove here, Padres pitcher, 97.3 The Fan. And I have to ask from the fan perspective, because Tony, every day on the show, whenever a team in the National League West signs a new big-name player, all of us fans are kind of like, why? And Tony says it doesn't matter. They still have to go out and play the games. When you see that happen, how do you feel?
Yeah, I mean, it's a different perspective as a player. Our job is, our goal doesn't change regardless of whether we add, and that stuff's, out of our control. So you never want to sit here going into an off season saying, we're going to be fired up if we get this guy and this guy, and not if we don't get this guy. So you look at our team, and a lot of people see all the moves being made and don't see us making moves, and it seems like a mismatch in the division. All these other teams are adding, but you look at our roster, I mean, we spent a lot of money over the last handful of years and committed a lot of guys to be here long term, and the value in having those guys return every year and continue to build that relationship and that growth is every bit as valuable as adding a new free agent. So
Love that.
I think with the progress we made last year, and you guys will never understand how we feel. I'm sure you can see a little bit of it on the field and how we carry ourselves and, the camaraderie and stuff, but you'll never truly understand just how close that group got last year. And although we didn't, achieve the ultimate goal of winning the World Series, We grew a ton as a team. We grew a ton as, a unit. And I'm super excited that we got most of these guys coming back. We got the whole staff coming back, and we can kind of pick up where we left off.
Well, last one for me, because you kind of just hit on it, and I think it's so important. The continuity, right? This is, year maybe 3, 4 of this nucleus being together. How much of an impact can that have on a team, having guys who have been in the locker room together for so long?
Yeah, a ton. And, Schulte's big thing is shared experiences. We got guys from all over the league, some guys that are new and have experienced things that most rookies don't, and some guys that have been around 10-plus years that have, been in championship locker rooms and been around the best of the best. So sharing those experiences with each other and helping each other grow along the way, not just, providing, assistance and, coaching, but like sharing experiences and helping guys grow a little bit through, what you've been through is a big thing for us.
Joe Musgrove, ladies and gentlemen, this is a good one we got here, man. Joe, appreciate you, brother.
Thanks so much, Joe. Pleasure, man.
Quick healings, and enjoy the rest of your day,
sir.
man.
You guys enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you very much.
I mean, I think first you can have that belief when you put the kind of work in that you do, that your body's going to heal right, and just trusting it. You talked about being an extension of the coaching staff. I would guess that's going to be even more.
If you watch the YouTube, one of the things that I do in the break is I need to be better about this. I need to be better at getting new commercial break video. But I just played an interview that Tony and I did with Joe Musgrove at FanFest, and it just seems like this. It always happens like this, and the older you get, the more I feel like this. But time is flying by. It feels like FanFest was like a couple weeks ago. Time is flying by, and now we're at the All-Star break. It's crazy. It's crazy, I tell you. Matt Scraby with you. Gwynn and Chris, 97.3 The Fan. Chris on vacation. Tony rejoining me here for the Big Five in just a second. We'll also have your traffic report. Biggest news of the day, if you are just tuning in, or if you haven't heard, Yu Darvish is back with the team, and he is going to be starting tonight. So we don't have to ask those questions anymore about Yu Darvish and when he's going to come back, blah, 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 blah. He will be back tonight. So that's what we can look forward to. Fernando Tatis Jr., Jason Adam, Manny Machado, all-stars for the Padres this year. And you may ask, Fernando Tatis Jr., is he an all-star? The more I think about it, the more I don't know. His defense has been really good. Really good. So I think, and because the reserves are voted upon by players and people inside the game, that tells you how much respect they have for Fernando Tatis Jr. if he was voted as an all-star. And he even had a vacation planned for the next couple days. And he canceled it, and he said, I'm going to Atlanta instead. So a little bit of a change in plans for Fernando, not the biggest deal in the world. However, he did say he is not going to do the home run derby. And I have to clean up something I said last Thursday or last Wednesday even, that I was complaining about Ohtani turning down the home run derby. And I said, he's never done it. He's kind of like LeBron. Well, I don't know why I said that at the time, because Ohtani, and I knew this because I remember watching him, he has definitely done the home run derby. So in this rare occasion, I will take an L and say, I'm sorry, Ohtani, for throwing you under the bus for not doing a home run derby when you already have. But Fernando is not going to be doing the home run derby himself. I think we'll get the finalized list here for the home run derby soon. And Pete Alonso is not going to compete in the home run derby, I believe, for the first time in his career. So he is done with the home run derby, at least for this year. I like Pete Alonso in the home run derby. He's very excited about the home run derby. He takes it very seriously, and I really appreciate guys who take things seriously, and Pete Alonso is 100% one of those guys. All right, Tony is here. Traffic is ready. Let's go to traffic, then the Big Five.
From the 855 Get Ross Traffic Center, protecting San Diego after accidents or injury, here's Kelly Danick.
We saw this accident on the coastline, southbound 5 before the 78. Pickup truck and motorcycle involved. Everything's over to the right shoulder. South 805 at the East 52 connector. Watch out for some wooden boards in the left lane of that transition ramp. And in the downtown area, still clearing an accident. South 5 before Civic Center. Those vehicles are over to the right shoulder. I'm Kelly Danick with Gwynn and Chris, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
It's that time of the show when we check on the latest in sports. Only the most important topics and questions are brought to light.
Stop what you're doing and listen.
These news stories will astound and amaze you. The one, the only.
Oh my God, who the hell cares?
The Big Five starts now on 97.3 The Fan.
Okay, after a long weekend with the 4th of July, we have lots to talk about here in the Big Five. We got some Fernando questions, Pro Football Talk posed something, and also one of my friends in San Francisco has me asking a question about Buster Posey. So we'll get to that in just a second. But first,
number 5.
Let's start with Fernando. He's hitting over 300 in the last 7 games. And get this, his on-base percentage is higher than his OPS. 455 on base versus 423 slugging, mainly thanks to 7 walks in that time, 2 of those intentionally. So, Tony, really simple question. What is he doing right over the last couple weeks to have him boost? I don't know why I said boost. What does he do? Let me just ask the question I wrote down. What is he doing right over the last couple weeks?
He's being more selective at the plate, not chasing as much as he was when he was in that rut that he was in, and he's using the whole field. And so whether he's no matter what he's doing with his leg up or down or whatever it is, he's getting there on time more recently, and I think that's allowed him to see the ball better, which has allowed him to lay off some tough pitches. He's drawn a lot of walks here in the last few weeks, and I said that a while ago that it's going, and I've been saying that with the whole team here as of late, that it starts, you got to kind of remove yourself from the actual result of things, because we get so caught up and you're like skipping the steps that you have to have in order to get the result. And I think that's kind of what Toddy's gotten back to doing. He's being more selective, seeing the ball well. He's taking some good swings, man. He really is. That first swing yesterday, line drive up the middle, and he got a breaking ball later in the game and hit a bullet down the left field line. So you liked where he's trending right now.
Yes, you do like where he's trending right now. The Padres need it. What is he doing right over the last couple of weeks from my perspective? Well, I should have put myself first because Tony said everything that I was going to say. He's making better at bats. He's not like, he's never looked lost, but he definitely looked like he was in a rut. And now he doesn't really look like that. And as we talked about in Padres Pen Pals a little bit earlier, like the intentional walk is still telling me that people fear him no matter where he is in his if he's in a rut or if he's on a hot streak or whatever. But Fernando just looks like he's comfortable at the plate again, and he looks on base. He's stealing bases. I mean, everything he does once he gets on base is great.
I liked what he said about it. When it wasn't going well, he said he was really trying to be good on the bases and good defensively. Just try and find other ways to have some impact on the team when he wasn't going well. And now, I don't know that we can say he's completely out of it, but he certainly is moving in the right direction in all facets of the game.
Yes. And he's playing. I mean, he I don't even want to say it, but knock on wood, I mean, he's played a lot of games. He's made an impact in a lot of games. So hopefully it keeps going forward.
Number 4.
Okay, Pro Football Talk had a discussion about the teams with a window to win the Super Bowl this season, and here's which teams they listed. For the AFC, they said they have a true short list of contenders: Chiefs, Bills, Ravens, Bengals, and then the Texans randomly. Broncos and Chargers, they say, could force their way into the conversation. In the NFC, it's the Eagles, Lions, Rams, Niners, and Commanders. Maybe the Buccaneers, they said. Maybe the Vikings, they said. So if you need me to relist those for you, Tony, when you're up, let me know. Out of all those teams, which one has the most pressure to win a title this year? I'm up first. I got to think it's the 49ers. I mean, the 49ers just spent a bunch of money on Brock Purdy. Honestly, it's either the 49ers or the Lions. And I don't really put that much pressure on the Lions because they still have a good team. the last couple of years they've been really good. I think they still are on the way up. The 49ers have tried to win the Super Bowl here for about 5 years, and they're not doing it. And they're going to be losing Christian McCaffrey's window here soon. They're going to be losing, they already lost Debo. George Kittle just got re-signed. I honestly, without being a Niner person, think that they have more pressure.
You are a Niner person. What are you talking about?
They have more pressure to win the Super Bowl this year than any other team. I'm going to add one more. The Bills. Bills also have a big...
You over here just straddling fences all over the place
Here's my final answer. The two teams that have the most pressure to win a Super Bowl, Niners and the Bills. What do you think, Tony?
Are you done? You want to pick any more teams real quick?
No, I would, but no.
I think it's Baltimore. I think they're the team that has the most pressure to win a Super Bowl coming into the year. I don't know how. I don't know why the 49ers are on this list. I don't know that they're going to be the same team. They're losing a lot of pieces.
They are
from last year. I know they had to sign Brock Purdy, but Brock Purdy was on the team last year. So I don't know how that pressure is any more than it was last year. But I think it's Baltimore. I think out of all the teams you've named, I mean, the Eagles have won one recently.
Yeah, I don't know why they're on this list.
The Chiefs have won. I mean, I get why, because those teams are supposed to go into the season with Super Bowl expectations. So I get it. But yeah, I think it's Baltimore. Lamar has done everything except win a title, and that drum is going to start to beat extremely loud if it's not done this year. And so I would put it on. I think Detroit, as good as they are, I don't know that they're at like Super Bowl or bust.
Yeah,
kind of
level
situation there. Who was the other team you said?
There's the
Bills. I mean,
Bills.
I think they're. I don't know that anybody takes them seriously enough as they should at that point. So yeah, I'm gonna go Buffalo.
I don't know why there's a couple teams on this list that I can't agree it shouldn't be. Texans, I don't know that their window is to win the Super Bowl this year.
I guess you know what? That's a good. It's the window.
Yeah.
Right. Like before free agency rids them of people. That's a different question. I thought for some reason I was thinking about pressure.
I think it's because I put pressure. I said the word pressure, but I guess pressure to
window is different.
Okay.
Window is different. I think I would agree with all those teams in terms of the window.
Okay.
But I still think
Ravens.
The Ravens are the one that needs to happen sooner rather than later.
I'm going to jump on your bandwagon. I'm going to go with the Ravens as my choice.
There's your third. There's your fourth team there. All right.
Yeah, I would even argue that there was more pressure on the 49ers last year to win a Super Bowl because Brock Purdy was on his rookie contract, and
for sure
they ended up, I think, 6-11. So
they failed.
Yes, I know.
Number 3.
Here's my question from the Giants fans that I know. The Giants made a big splash trade for Rafael Devers, but also sent away some of their major league ready pitching, which included Kyle Harrison and Jordan Hicks. After the trade, they do not have the same starting pitching depth they once had. The move has really forced them to rely upon Justin Verlander even more, which has not paid dividends thus far. In 14 games this year, Verlander is 0-6 with a 4.84 ERA in 70 2/3 innings. So long-term, this trade could work out for them with Rafael Devers being in San Francisco. Tony, did Buster Posey make a short-term mistake?
No. I think it's short-sighted to think that he's done. I mean, there's a deadline coming up here. I'm sure he'll be in the hunt for some pitching at that point. I think you give your Verlander the runway that they're giving him now to try to see if he can get it going, and so it gives you 2-3 starts before deadline. Probably about 2 starts. No, about 2-3 starts. Yeah, three starts before the deadline approaches, and you can start to kind of make your decision in between time. I think it's a good move for. First of all, no offense, Kyle Harrison hadn't proven to be that good at the big league level.
Yep.
And Jordan Hicks had been kind of moved back to the bullpen because the starting thing wasn't really working, or the Giants deemed it as not working. So I don't know that he gave up these so-called ready starting pitching at the big league level.
That's a good point. I hope my friends are listening right now because we had a long talk about this. And I guess I understand where they're coming from, but I also said to them, wait till the trade deadline's over before you have this take because there's so much that can change. And if they don't get any starting pitching, then maybe he did make a short-term mistake. But the Giants are right there. Even though they have the starting pitching that they do, I am afraid of what Buster Posey can do as a GM going forward. It just seems like he is not afraid to make the huge splash. It seems like he's not afraid to hurt feelings in the meantime. So stick with it to my Giants fans out there up in the Bay Area. No one's here is listening as a Giants fan. So the Giants are still sticking around. They're right there with the Padres. So we'll see what happens.
Number 2.
I think Tony is going to love this next story, and it is about Hall of Famer Gary Payton. He still hopes to have his jersey number retired one day, and in one of the best nicknames of all time, the Glove. His issue is not whether he deserves it or not, it's where he wants it to happen. He played 13 NBA seasons with the Seattle Supersonics, and he was one half of the Sonic Boom duo, which propelled the team to success during the 90s. However, with the Sonics now being in OKC, Payton doesn't want to get his number retired in OKC. Here he is discussing it on a podcast.
Yeah, them be talking about retired jersey in Oklahoma City, because I ain't never been there. Let's just make it real. Me and Sean never played in front of Oklahoma City.
Yeah.
We didn't ever played in front of their fans, so why should we give them the pleasure of what we started in Seattle to retire jersey? So our fans should be having that pleasure.
Yeah.
So when the Sonics come back, and mostly we're going to be a part of that, and we're gonna retire Sean and Detlef's jersey first.
That was Gary Payton on a podcast. Number one, I had no idea that Gary Payton swore so much. I listened to like a good 10 minutes, and it was just swear word after swear word with him.
You clearly haven't listened to GP.
No, I have not heard him talk in a selection, but I'm up first. Would it be weird for OKC to retire his number?
I think it is.
Super weird. Yeah, I mean, there's one answer to this. It's weird. And to think that OKC wants to retire their numbers, that's also strange. Why don't they want to make their own kind of franchise and their own kind of Ring of Honor? But I know that they're still the Seattle Supersonics. Anyway, if they ever bring a team back to the Seattle area, I think they should retire Sean Kemp's number. Detlef Schrempf, there's that name again. Gary Payton as well. So, Tony, would it be weird for OKC to retire Gary Payton's number?
Yes, it'd be extremely weird. Like, no one in Oklahoma City saw Sean Kemp and Gary Payton play for the Seattle Supersonics. They might have saw it just like all TV, of us saw it, like, but they didn't. They have no attachment to it. So, like, going there and like doing the whole ceremony, like, people will be nice and like clap, but no one has any attachment to it, right? I mean,
yeah.
It's just weird. It's an awkward situation because, OKC ended up with Seattle's team after showing how well they could support a team when there was a home that needed to be had there. But, yeah, man, I think this is weird. I think a lot of people think it's weird.
Yeah, and I love how Gary Payton handled it. He's like, no, I don't want it to happen. And he just flat out just said, no, I'm good.
Number 1.
Pittsburgh Pirates center fielder O'Neal Cruz made a 105.2-mile-an-hour throw to nab Mariners J.P. Crawford at the plate Sunday, the second hardest thrown ball to produce an outfield assist since StatCast started in 2015. Aaron Hicks of the Yankees in 2016 has the fastest, 105.5. Cruz's throw was the fastest of any kind by a Pirates outfielder, and it came as a surprise to Crawford because he did not slide on the plate, did not expect the throw to be there. Tony, you're up first. It's kind of a scrappy question. O'Neal Cruz is a StatCast legend already with exit velocities and throw velocities, but does it really matter?
In terms of what?
The team, like, is O'Neal Cruz I just was thinking, like, I always see him getting these accolades for StatCast numbers, but he's on a team that doesn't win, and he kind of gets lost there. So does it really even matter?
Well, it'll stop mattering when you stop putting it in your big five and then asking questions
Good point.
off of it.
Good
that
point.
might help. I'm just saying. I think O'Neal Cruz is a young player, and he does some amazing things. He just doesn't do them consistently yet. I think he's got a chance to be a really good player in the league. Looks like he's not in the lineup today. Unfortunately, I was just getting ready to see where he was at. Let me go look at the numbers from yesterday. But yeah, man, I mean, to answer your question, no, it really doesn't matter. I mean, that was kind of the old get off my lawn guys. That's what they were kind of referring to when they used to say, okay, so you threw a ball really hard from the outfield. We already knew that.
Yeah.
Now you can just put a number on it, right? Or, oh, you hit that ball. We could tell you hit that ball pretty hard. It went in the second deck, right? But now we can put a number on it, and I think that is fun for people at times. But in the grand scheme of things, does it mean anything? No, it doesn't.
I guess a better question, because I was going to say no too. Better question is O'Neal Cruz going to be a star on the Pirates?
I don't know. He's struggling this year. It would be he might need to change the scenery. Honestly, I don't know that.
Sounds like a lot of guys in Pittsburgh need to change the scenery.
Some guys don't want to change the scenery. Some of them don't like being, in that.
Brian Reynolds, maybe.
Yeah. That's exactly what I was thinking of. I think it seems like he's just kind of chilling. Oh, cool, Pittsburgh.
He's just kind of chilling. Paul Skeens yet again loses another 1-0 game.
Yeah, I mean, people like him will eventually leave or be traded because they're not cool with just mediocrity all the time, And so, O'Neal Cruz, by the way, is struggling. I hit him 203. He was like around 250 when we saw him earlier. But man, it's a long season. He's struggling right now, and I do think he has a chance to be a star, though.
Yeah, I like O'Neal Cruz. I think he's fun. All right, that's it for the Big Five. When we get back, I'm going to get you set for this opening game between the Padres and the Diamondbacks. Just a little bit left, a half hour or more here on 97.3 The Fan. Gwynn and Chris.
Hey, it's Ben and Woods, and we're not just a radio show.
What are we doing, guys?
I'm going to see the museum for the first time ever. It's going to be sweet. See my dad's plaque. See where Trevor's plaque is going to be. It's going to be pretty dope.
Chris,
I'm going to go to the Hall of Fame for the second time because I went earlier today, but I'm going in to see Tony go into the Hall of Fame. So all the way straight and back left.
Straight back left.
Straight on that back wall.
This one?
Yeah.
How you feeling, Tony?
I don't know how I'm feeling right now, honestly.
Excited?
I'm definitely excited. Hello, Eric. How you doing? Pretty good.
Wow. Just like I told you, next to the famous Barney Dreyfuss and Leslie Wilkinson, whoever they are.
That does look like them.
I know. It's a good shot. They don't do them all that great. That one's good. Really good.
I missed a year. 300. Must have been bad. Huh? I used to be. Not anymore, though.
Oh, it's so cool. What team did you play on?
I can give you a long list of them. Brewers, Padres, Dodgers, Phillies, Nationals.
What position did you play?
I played outfield. This was my dad. Oh, there's Dick Williams, Goose. I think he'd be pretty happy with his company over here. So.
What are you thinking to see it for the first time?
I'm thinking that
hot. I'm quite warm right now, but
it's cool. I mean, it's what I thought it was gonna be. I mean, not too many people can say they have a dad that's enshrined in this place. So I think this is awesome.
What are we doing, guys?
I'm going to see the museum for the first time ever. It's gonna be sweet. See my dad's plaque. See where Trevor's plaque is going to be. It's gonna be pretty dope.
Chris,
I'm going to go to the Hall of Fame for the second time because I went earlier today, but I'm going in to see Tony go into the Hall of Fame. So all the way straight at the back left.
Straight back left.
Straight on that back wall.
This one?
Yeah.
How you feeling, Toby?
I don't know how I'm feeling right now, honestly.
Excited?
I'm definitely excited. Hello, Eric. How you doing? Pretty good.
Wow. Just like I told you, next to the famous Barney Dreyfus and Leslie Wilkinson, whoever they are.
That does look like them.
I know. It's a good shot. They don't do them all that great. That one's good. Really good.
I missed a year. 300. Must have been bad. Huh? I used to be. Not anymore, though.
Oh, it's so cool. What team did you play on?
I can give you a long list of them. Brewers, Padres, Dodgers, Phillies, Nationals.
What position did you play?
I played outfield. This was my dad. Oh, there's Dick Williams, Goose. I think he'd be pretty happy with his company over there or something.
What are you thinking seeing it for the first time?
I'm thinking that
hot. I'm quite warm right now, but it's cool. I mean, it's what I thought it was gonna be. I mean, not too many people can say they have a dad that's enshrined in this place. So I think this is awesome.
What are we doing, guys?
I'm going to see the museum for the first time ever. It's going to be sweet. See my dad's plaque. See where Trevor's plaque is.
Right now on 97.3 The Fan.
All right, just 35 minutes to go, or a little bit less than that. 33 minutes to go until I hand it over to Sammy Lev for the Padres pregame show, the Padres Eco Water SoCal pregame show on 97.3 The Fan. I'm Matt Scraby filling in for Tony and Chris. Right now, Tony is off doing his thing down at the stadium. Chris is on vacation, and I will be with you for the next half hour, updating you on what's been going on all day. Also, talking a little bit about the dog days of summer. I know I'm teasing this a little bit too much, but I found out what the dog days of summer are, and I'm going to share it with all of you and tell you how it relates to sports talk radio. But that's in the next segment. Right now, we're going to give you all the news that has happened today, and it's good news. It's very, very good news. Yu Darvish has been reinstated from the 60-day IL. He's going to be pitching tonight for the Padres. Michael King has spoken to the media, and he said that he is making his way back. He threw from 120 feet today. He said he is feeling good, and that all he really needs to do is he's basically going through a second spring training. And that sounds brutal for him, but hey, whatever gets him back as soon as possible to the rotation is what the Padres need. So I'm thinking maybe August. Seems like unless there's any setbacks or anything, I think August would be the right month for him to come back to the rotation. So that's good that he's talking and throwing and telling the media things and all of that. So that's news that we wanted. Jason Adam is an all-star. Fernando Tatis Jr. is an all-star. Manny Machado is an all-star. So the Padres have 3 all-stars. And when I was thinking about the all-star team this year and how the Padres have been playing lately, I wasn't sure outside of maybe Manny Machado, because he obviously was going to make it. He was the best part about the Padres in the first half, or pre-all-star break, because I know some people don't like saying first half, second half, because it's not actually the first half, second half, and I kind of subscribe to that a little bit. But I didn't think that Jason Adam would make it over Robert Suarez. But when you look at the numbers and when you really think about it, I think that that's probably the right move, because Robert Suarez has a lot of saves. He's got 25 saves, which I believe is like 5 more than the next National League saves person on the list. And I would say that he's not, I would say that he wasn't selected because of how he's pitched as of late. He has not pitched great lately. He's blown some saves lately. So Jason Adam, on the other hand, has been pretty much lights out, as much as you possibly can be. There was a stretch where he wasn't as good, but I think that was because they were using Jason Adam a lot. They were having him pitch a lot, and it was, he was tired. And so once he got a little bit of a break, once he got a little bit of a reset time when they were able to, because they needed him in all those games, and he was able to rest up and be the guy that we knew he was earlier in the year. So I'm not worried about Jason Adam at all and what's going on in the future, but it's nice to see him make the all-star team for the first time. And Jason Adam, like having someone like Jason Adam make the all-star team is what you really feel good about, because Jason Adam he was a guy who didn't even know if he was going to play or he was going to pitch again, because he had injuries way back when with the Padres. They helped him rehab. He went to several other teams, and then the Padres traded for him and got him last year. So I think that Jason Adam is potentially the future closer for the Padres. If Robert Suarez doesn't come back to the team next year with his player option, then you may have, I don't know that the Padres are going to spend big money on Robert Suarez. I don't know that they really want to spend big money on a closer, but Jason Adam could be there. Morihone could be there. I'm talking about the rest of this year. Next year, I could change completely, but if they were to say, trade Suarez, if they were to trade Robert Suarez, Jason Adam would be the next man up, and I think we all feel comfortable with that. I saw some discussion about maybe they just go with the hot hand at closer, Estrada, Morihone, or Jason Adam. Who's the best for that situation? Put them in there. I don't know that this really makes a lot of difference to a pitcher, but I feel like guys knowing their roles really helps to prepare them. And I know that they are just out there to pitch whenever they're supposed to pitch, but closing out a game is completely different from the 7th inning. And the goal is the same, give up no runs, but obviously you're getting the team's last shot in the 9th inning. And Robert Suarez has been more than good for the Padres if you look at his career in totality. But he has gone through stretches where he just is not as good as we're accustomed to. And I think maybe that's us fans having too high of expectations, possibly. But I don't know that a closer by committee is what Mike Schilt and the Padres want to do. I just don't see it. I don't see a closer by committee being what they're going to go with. I don't see them trading Robert Suarez, but he does have value to other teams. He's a rental, so it's almost like you're gonna get pennies on the dollar back for him because he's a rental. I just don't see a deal being worked out. We're gonna play an AJ Preller clip in just a second about, he was on with MLB Network Radio and he was talking about what the Padres want to go after for the trade deadline, which they have to make a trade because they do need to bolster this team. But I think that they're in a spot where they have to go all in. And I've been seeing trades like Dylan Cease being traded for a bunch of prospects. I don't know that that's the best move for the Padres right now. Like, they have a legit chance to make the playoffs, and with some improvement around the edges of the team, they have a chance to win in the playoffs. So why are you going to be trading Dylan Cease and taking someone out of your rotation and putting and getting back prospects in return? I don't get that. I don't think that's where the team is. I don't think that's the stage that the team wants to be in right now. I think the team is looking at winning now rather than trying to, build up their farm system once again. I just don't see it. I don't see it. I see this team going for it this year. And if they have to lose a Dylan Cease in free agency and get nothing for him, why not? He's also a rental. He's also going to have pennies, a return of pennies on the dollar because he is a rental. He's going to be a free agent and he's probably going to make good money. But I don't know that the Padres are really, really, really worried about getting something somewhere or getting a trade package back for him. I just don't see it. Could happen. Definitely could happen. There's many, many, many things that AJ Preller has done that I didn't predict. A lot of other people didn't predict. But I think that AJ Preller is, I think that he wants to win now. I don't think he wants to build up for the future. So it's going to be interesting over the next 24 days or so before the trade deadline to see what happens. We'll play that AJ Preller clip, but I wanted to play you this. This is Fernando Tatis Jr. speaking to the media about his all-star selection. I don't think expected it, but he was selected. So here's what he had to say with the media earlier today.
What does it mean to be elected by other players in the league? I mean, that's kind of a nice acknowledgement.
It's definitely a really great acknowledgement, and grateful with every single one of them, and that's why we play this game and so hard. And that's why we put every single thing we can out there, lay everything out there.
This will be your third time going. The first time, I would imagine, it's just kind of overwhelming, possibly, and some guys say they had more fun the second and third times that they get a chance to go. What stood out to you the first couple of All-Star games that you went to, and what are you looking forward to for this one?
Just to enjoy the experience, man. They're just going to be the best players of the game are out there. So, find a way how to have good baseball talks with every single one of them, and just enjoy the moment. Those are memories that you take with yourself, on the long run. And when you're sitting on your couch, probably when you're 40 years old, and that's what you're going to remember.
Getting you Darvish back today, what does that mean for this team to have him back on the mound, his leadership and just his presence?
Just his presence itself is a lot, and I'm really happy for him that he's bouncing back. And every time that you're getting a player back like you, Darvish, is definitely a push to the team.
What do you enjoy most about watching you, Darvish?
Man, just obviously he's great on the mound, but his work ethic is just off the chart. How he's still capable of doing it, for so long, the way he has done it is really impressive, and just happy that he's back and he's on our side.
Given how tough the schedule was in June and how well you've played at home, how much you guys enjoyed having a nice long stretch here ahead of the break?
Beautiful. Definitely enjoy it. I love the weather over here. I love playing in Parco. Love playing in front of my fans, and it's definitely a push that we needed.
Jason Adam will be going to the All-Star game for the first time. Any words of advice for him on how to enjoy the experience?
Just enjoy it, man. It's a lot of hard work out there, and he definitely deserves it, and just happy for the man.
There you go. Fernando Tatis Jr. talking about his all-star selection. And he said, these are the moments I'm going to think about when I'm sitting on the couch when I'm 40. I believe that's what he said. I think he said the age of 40. And I just turned 40 maybe 6 weeks ago. And that is an eye-opener for me. Makes me feel really old that Fernando said, I'll be sitting on the couch thinking about my all-star days when I'm 40. Ugh. Yes, you will, Fernando. I still think about my Little League All-Star days when I'm sitting on my couch at the age of 40. So make all those memories. Make all the memories. Also, another person from the Padres, another player, who immediately lights up and smiles when they were asked about Yu Darvish coming back. So I think that's a pretty That's a big deal tonight. Yu Darvish returning to the rotation. Yu Darvish being Yu Darvish. I think that's a huge morale boost for the team. And you could see it every time a player is asked, they just smile and they know Yu Darvish is Yu Darvish. That's really all I can say about it, because there's not really many ways to describe Yu Darvish outside of saying he's Yu Darvish. How many more times can I say Yu Darvish before the end of the show? We'll find out. When we get back, I'll share with you what AJ Preller said to MLB Network Radio about the trade deadline and what they're looking for. Also, the dog days of summer. Stick with us, Gwynn and Chris, until 5:35 when Sammy takes over at 5:40 for the Padres pregame show right here on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 855, get right.
Has these things. It even tells you, hey, there's a canyon over here. Don't hit it here.
Scraby from about 45 feet. His caddy tells him to play it a little to the right. He's been playing well so far today. Fourth hole. Nice smooth delivery. Hit it too hard.
Sasquatch. So Chris says that he can't play golf, but this is the second birdie putt he's made for us. This time it was like 20 feet.
Thank you very much, Greg. But once again, you're hitting some very nice shots as well. I'm not usually complimentary to you, but can't help but be complimentary. Your shot making today.
With my what?
Your shot making. You hit some.
These things. It even tells you, hey, there's a canyon over here. Don't hit it here.
Scraby from about 45 feet. His caddy tells him to play it a little to the right. He's been playing well so far today. Fourth hole. Nice smooth delivery. Hit it too hard.
Sasquatch. So Chris says that he can't play golf, but this is the second birdie putt he's made for us. This time it was like 20 feet.
Thank you very much, Greg. But once again, you're hitting some very nice shots as well. I'm not usually complimentary to you, but can't help but be complimentary. Your shot making today.
With my what?
Your shot making. You hit some.
things. It even tells you, hey, there's a canyon over here. Don't hit it here.
Scraby from about 45 feet. His caddy tells him to play it a little to the right. He's been playing well so far today. Fourth hole. Nice smooth delivery. Hit it too hard.
Sasquatch. So Chris says that he can't play golf, but this is the second birdie putt he's made for us. This time it was like 20 feet. Thank you very much, Greg. But once again, you're hitting some very nice shots as well. I'm not usually complimentary to you, but can't help but be complimentary. Your shot making today.
With my what?
Your shot making. You hit some.
These things. It even tells you, hey, there's a canyon over here. Don't hit it here.
Scraby from about 45 feet. His caddy tells him to play it a little to the right. He's been playing well so far today. Fourth hole. Nice smooth delivery. Hit it too hard.
Sasquatch. So Chris says that he can't play golf, but this is the second birdie putt he's made for us. This time it was like 20 feet. Thank you very much, Greg. But once again, you're hitting some very nice shots as well. I'm not usually complimentary to you, but can't help but be complimentary. Your shot making today.
With my what?
Your shot making. You hit some.
Trying to make sure I have everything. Matt Scravy back with you here. Final segment of the show for Gwynn and Chris. Chris back next Monday or on Monday, and Tony is down at the stadium at Petco Park getting ready for tonight's game between the Padres and the Diamondbacks. I just got our winner. If you heard the Fernando third home run, you knew it was time to call, and Joe has won those tickets. So great job, Joe. You were the first caller. Appreciate you. And you were very excited. Like, it's very nice to, it's awesome when people are super excited to win the tickets, because sometimes people are like, where are the tickets? You don't know? Okay, I don't want them. I'm like, well, why did you call? But Joe was very excited, and I was very excited to give Joe those tickets. All right. What else do we have today? Actually, I do want to stop and say real quick that the floods in Texas, I keep getting news alerts on my phone, and the floods in Texas have displaced a lot of people. and have unfortunately taken a lot of people's lives. And I've heard some of these stories from people who are in it, and I've heard different things, and it is extremely scary to think about what those people went through, and to know that there was summer camps going on and things like that with teenagers, and it's just it's hard to think about. Honestly, you can't really understand what those people are going through, because it's just such a unique situation, and it's such a tragic situation. And so I just wanted to say something before the show ended, because we haven't said anything yet. And the news alerts on my phone are a good and a bad thing, because I get to stay up to date on things that are going on in the sports world and in the regular world. But it's also a bad thing because I see the news alerts and see that, the for lack of a better term, the death toll keeps rising. And that is very sad. Very, very sad. And so my thoughts go out to all those families who have lost someone, are still looking for someone. It's just very, very scary to hear that, and to know that what those people went through is just something that you can't predict. Like, these people had no time to get out, and that's something that is very scary to me, and I'm sure a lot of other people. So my thoughts are with those people in Texas and the families and everything. It's just one of those freak accidents or freak incidents of nature that just really devastated that area of Texas. So wanted to make sure I said something about that, because it was dominating the news headlines over the weekend, as it should have, because it was a really, really big deal. And so if anybody is listening right now and is affected by that, I'm sorry that you're going through that. All right, there's no real good way to move into what I'm about to talk about next, but we're going to, and that would be AJ Preller and his trade deadline wants and needs. And he was on with MLB Network Radio, yesterday, and he actually gave the host of MLB Network Radio a pretty good answer about what the Padres are looking for at the trade deadline. So here's what AJ Preller had to say to MLB Network Radio yesterday.
But again, I think the biggest thing is, from my standpoint in this chair, we're prepared, because we've got great scouts, analysts, staff, coaching staff that, they all participate in the process. We feel like we have a pretty good pulse on the league and who's out there. It doesn't always mean you're going to make great decisions, but I think we're in position, with talented players in our organization, both at the major league and minor league level, to at least be in these conversations. And then you got to, as a GM, evaluate like how realistic it is that your team can win and contend, and then try to weigh that out versus future, and wanting to make sure that's a sustained run. So, we've had the chance here, over the last 5 years to be in 3 playoff runs, and we've had 5 in a row where we've been in the mix till the end. And at the end of the day, we'll look at our team here this year. Getting Darvish King back would be huge. The bullpen's been strong. We've got a lot of different weapons in the pen. We've had some you could add to a strength. And on the offense side, it's probably rounding out the depth of the lineup. I think, like you mentioned, the top of the lineup should be strong. And you look up and you've got a Jake Cronenworth hitting 7th and 8th some nights, but you've got to be deep, 1 through 9. And I think probably adding a bat or two is something that we're going to look at here in the next few weeks. To try to help our team get to October.
That was very AJ Preller answer right there. It was a lot of words, and then at the end, in like the last 5 seconds, he delivered on what we needed, which is we're thinking about adding a bat or two is something that we're going to look at here in the next few weeks. That is a pretty good indication of where the Padres want to go with their trade deadline. I think that they know that they need a bat. I think that they know that's probably more important than some other areas right now. But AJ saying that he is going to be looking at this in the next few weeks means that he is really going to be looking for a bat in the next few weeks. I don't know how much he sleeps to begin with. Tony doesn't think he sleeps much at all, but I have a feeling that he's not going to be able to sleep for the next month or so until he figures out how to bolster this team for the rest of the season and for the playoff run, because we're getting down to that time of the year. We're getting down to when these games, These games matter all the time to me, but these games really start to matter now. And the Padres, even though they're not putting up a ton of runs on the board, they are playing good baseball for the most part. And they're doing the little things, which is taking the extra base when they can on a sac fly, or just being aggressive on the bases when they can, and it's safe enough to do so. I think that they're doing all those things correctly. And that's how the Padres are going to win games. They're going to win games with good pitching and timely hitting, plus some small ball in there, plus just doing all the little things to get them that win in the playoffs. And they've done it before. We saw it a little bit last year. I know that they had the quote unquote power outage at the end of the series with the Dodgers. They took care of the Braves, no problem. But they struggled at the end of the series with the Dodgers, and they have to have that in the back of their mind when they're trading for someone. Like, we need to make sure that we're not going to be put into a spot where we don't have any bat that we can go to off the bench in a playoff game. Now, I'm not saying that if they had a bat last year, it would have changed the drought, the scoring drought. But I am saying that it helps you a ton when you have a quality bat that can come off the bench or DH. It means a ton. And we were talking about a little bit earlier, but the left field position, which was a massive, massive, massive need maybe a month ago, doesn't seem like it's that big of a need now, because you have Gavin Sheets playing good left field, or good enough left field. Now, if they can get a left fielder and they can get someone who can hit and play left field, then that's fine. You can put Gavin Sheets in the DH and have him DH. But Gavin Sheets is playing good enough in left field that I don't think that is that's necessarily a massive need for this team right now. You always need pitching. And with Yu Darvish coming back tonight, that's a huge add. Michael King coming back probably in August. That's a massive add for the team. I'm saying probably in August because that's kind of what Michael King said. You got Fernando hitting really well lately. He's hitting over 300 in the last 7 games, and he is also walking more. The team is walking more. I think that they're going in the right direction. They just need some help in certain areas. And that's what AJ Preller is talking about when he's adding a bat or two. And I hope, I don't want to rain on the parade of being excited about the trade deadline, but I hope it's not like a bat that doesn't make sense. Like, to me, when they traded for Adam Frazier years ago, I didn't think it made sense. And he went from being the National League batting champion when he was traded to the Padres to not hitting much at all. Like, AJ Preller does a pretty good job of making trades that make sense. Like, that one did not make sense to me. That one did not help the team. But I do think that AJ learns from a lot of the different things that he does in his career. And that's a huge thing. Being able to learn and adjust is what the name of the game is all about. Like, you could say that the Nationals didn't learn and adjust enough. The Nationals just fired their GM of 16 years, Mike Rizzo, and the manager, Dave Martinez. I don't know what they're thinking, because it seems like, I know that maybe the manager, it doesn't seem like the GM needed to go, unless there was some behind the scenes uncomfortableness with everything. But I definitely think that the Nationals are going in the wrong direction. Padres are in the right direction. Even though they gave the Nationals all those players, the Padres are still one of the teams that are fighting for a spot in the wild card. The Nationals have been out of it for quite some time, and they have not done much of anything since 2019 when they took over or when they won the World Series with Juan Soto and Steven Strasburg. All right, happy hour. This was the happy hour. It was brought to you by GL Pools, the swimming pool experts trusted by thousands of San Diegans since 2006. Baseball season is in full swing, and so is swim season. Call GL Pools and mention radio for a free month of pool service. The dog days of summer. This is going to be way quicker than I thought, but the dog days of summer refers to the time between July 3rd and August 11th. It's during this 40-day stretch that the temperature and humidity reach their highest points of the season. That is why they call it the dog days of summer. I'll explain tomorrow, hopefully, about why Sports Talk is in the dog days of summer. But up next, Sammy Levitt from Petco Park. Padres Diamondbacks at 6:40, Sam at 5:40. I'm Matt Scraby. This has been Gwynn and Chris. We'll be back with you tomorrow on 97.3 The Fan. Enjoy the game, everybody.